Good evening. Hello there. I'm Patrick Gill, and tonight here on Martlet, we are going to be digging into episode 5 of our 10 Candles anthology, Terminal Black. We have another table of fresh players to 10 Candles. We've gone through, we've discussed all of the, we'll say the ins and outs of the character creation process kind of off screen. Everyone knows what they're getting into, but we have gone through the consent as always. The disclaimer gets displayed at the beginning of every episode just to save time. But we're going to go ahead and introduce everyone real quick. Just to start off, we'll go ahead and start with Joanna.
Hello, my name is Joanna. I'm generally on Vancouver by night, and I'm kind of excited to be doing my first 10 Candles game.
Next up is going to be Jay.
I am Jay. I am very excited for 10 Candles game. For the 10 Candles game, I've never played anything like this, but I do really enjoy the narrative style of roleplay. So it seems like it's right up my alley. My only other streaming experience is on Skin Deep, which is on the Vancouver by Night channel. And so Thanks for having me along.
Yeah. Glad that you're here and we're able to make it. And finally, Zoe.
Hi, my name's Zoe. You can find me right here on Martlet Games on Psychopomps Incorporated and various projects over on Carrion Comfort Studios. And I'm also very excited for this spooky game during prime spooky season.
Yes. So this is technically going to be showing, if I've got my schedule correct, this is actually going to be like towards the beginning of December. So yes, the extra innings carries on. Because winter is technically the end of December. We're still in fall. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to read through the module that I wrote for tonight's installment, just to get everyone back up to speed. And so the audience also knows what sick hell I've created for these players. And then we'll go through character creation. So tonight here, on Terminal Black, we've got The Void of Damocles. The year is 2107, and humanity has flung itself among the stars to escape their dead planet and delay their inevitable extinction. The Earth was doomed before they came, a victim of humanity's greed and our desire to become something more than hairless apes with sharp sticks and heavy rocks. Our mother was blanketed in a thick cloud of greenhouse gases and cooking alive, and it was time for us to flee to the stars. The Damocles project led to the construction of massive orbital shipyards, which would build the life rafts humanity needed to escape our solar system. The first tentative arcs were launched in the early 2070s, more proof of concept than main production. The first of these vessels were starting to clear the edge of the solar system when the moon exploded, cracking in half and scattering debris throughout local space. This was of their design, with the help of certain interested humans. They were able to influence across the void of their prison, and their means to spread their influence across the stars brought about their arrival. But it needed reliable hands on this side to push the buttons and pull the strings. The explosion of the moon spread a material of unknown origin across the solar system, with the Earth taking the immediate brunt. Everything the vector touched served as a host and corrupted, using thick greenhouse gases as a catalyst to fuel the reactions present in our atmosphere. Living things became drones, blank slates they could use as more direct puppets. We fought back, of course. Little pockets of civilization kept safe and worked to finish as many ARC ships in the Damocles shipyards as possible. The Vector was inert in vacuum and sterilized by chemical fires. Light also kept them at bay, so these shipyards soon became the last homes many humans would see before getting sealed away and sent out into the void. You are among the last of the crew of your station, finishing up the last ship the station will launch before being scuttled. Last week was the final commissioning. But then something went wrong. Horribly, horribly wrong. Observers noticed something being launched from the surface of the Earth and moving unnaturally fast towards the sun. The last horror humanity would witness would be their star dying, and with it, the hopes of these last humans would go with it. Don't let that happen. Your objective, launch the ship. Points of interest, we've got the launch section, the living quarters, maintenance, the construction sections, and the Ark ship itself. And so now we will go ahead and start with our character creation process. And this is a collaboration between the players. We will start by handing out everyone's vices. I discussed off screen who was going to, or the direction that we would be going with this here. So, Joanna, you would be writing Zoe's virtue. Zoe, you'd be writing Jay's virtue. So on and so forth. Jay, Joanna's. Go ahead and private message that in Zoom here. And everyone go ahead and give me the thumbs up when you've got your character's virtues. Yep, you got your virtue. Jay, you've got your virtue. And Joe, you've got your virtue. Okay. So next will be everyone's vices. These are things that cause more problems than they fix. And then we go the opposite direction. So this time, Joe, you're writing Jay's vice. Jay, you're writing Zoe's vice. Zoe, you're writing Joe's vice. All right, everyone is good to go. All right, so now you're going to come up with your character's moment. This is something that your character hopes to achieve during this scenario. In the book, it says, "I will find hope when ... So go ahead, take a moment. You can tweak, calibrate things. All right, excellent. All right, so now finally comes my personal favorite part of character creation. This is where we come up with everyone's brinks. This is something that you saw your neighbor do. Whether or not your neighbor knows that you saw, I don't know. We'll see. But this is something that, for the players, this is something that the individual did when they were at their lowest, hit rock bottom, had absolutely nothing left in the gas tank emotionally or psychologically. This is typically supposed to be something very, very bad. Now, where I get to participate in this, however, is I get to throw myself into the mix. I represent them. Now, this is going to follow the same rotation as what we did for the vices. So, in this case, Zoe, you're going to be writing Joanna's brink. Joanna, you will be writing Jay's brink. Jay, you get to shape the rest of the narrative. This is something that you saw them do. You cannot make them weaker. Their natural weakness is to light, and only light. However, you can shape any other part of them. I saw them change their shape. I saw them, you think of something that would provide a good, we'll say, narrative spice. Okay? Now, where I get to participate with Zoe here is this is something that they saw Zoe do. So whether or not they are we'll say, present in the construction station right now, or if they're omniscient, or something in between the two. Yeah. But this is something that they have seen Zoe's character do. So go ahead, make sure that you have everyone selected properly in the Zoom there. This is the big one. And there we go. Yep. Excellent. So now we're going to go around the horn one more time. And I'm going to have everyone reintroduce yourselves. This time, also introduce your character. Give a little bit of their background here in the scenario, and then I will walk you through presenting your character aspects there. So, once again, we'll start off with Joe.
Hello, my name is Joanna. I will be playing Dr. Brianna McKenzie. She is a botanist who has been working on splicing bioluminescent bacteria with plant life to try and see if she can find a sustainable source of energy and light for the arcs. She has been in charge of the food production and greenhouse setup for the arcs as well.
Excellent. What is her virtue?
Her virtue is that she's quick-witted.
Excellent. And her vice?
Is that she's addicted.
Ooh, and it's nice and open-ended, so you can make that whatever you want. And when will she find hope? What is her moment?
She'll find hope when she notices that one of the cells of the plants has managed to start merging with the cell of one of the bacteria. It's a spark. It might not be a successful experiment, but there's hope there.
I like that. Good deal. All right, now you keep your brink to yourself. Next up, we will go ahead and move on to Jay.
Hi, I'm Jay. I'm going to be playing Roland Hoffman, the chief engineer, tinkerer, general electronics nerd, and virtue and vice, I guess.
Yep. So your virtue is
quick wit. Resourceful.
Resourceful. Excellent. All right, and your vice
is jealousy.
Ooh, oh, there we are. Just as I was getting ready to mute my phone. All right, well, I'll have you do your vice again. And your vice?
My vice is jealousy.
So ooh. I like. That's going to be
an
good.
Interesting one.
Mm-hmm. And when will Roland find hope?
I will find hope when I can finally get a good night's sleep, whether genuinely or believing that things on the ship are functioning properly.
Okay. And finally, Zoe.
I'm Zoe. My character's name is Maya Acker. She is a biochemist on the space station, and she is working on trying to synthesize not necessarily a cure, but more of a preemptive immunization for to act against the drone effect.
Oh, the
that had been seen.
Try to counteract the vector substance.
Yes,
understood. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead then, and let's dive on in.
Do you want me to give my virtue advice?
Oh yes, yes. Let's do that. Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Nope, you're okay. I was manipulating things on my screen, and I lost track. So your virtue is Maya.
My virtue is patience.
And your vice?
My vice is cowardly.
Okay, and your moment. When will you find hope, Maya?
I will find hope when one of my synthesized formulas reacts well with the blood sample I managed to collect from a drone.
Gotcha. Okay. I like this. So, now that we've got all of our character aspects put together, you now arrange those in whatever order you wish, just so long as your brink is on the bottom. Now, these aspects are, we'll say, used up over the course of the story. Your virtues and vices, you can sacrifice those only once a scene, so it's either or, to re-roll any ones that you may have gotten. Your moment can be burned to try, or if you can try to get a success on your moment, try to fulfill it. And then if you are able to achieve your moment, you get a hope die. This scores a success on a 5 or a 6, and you cannot lose it. Okay? Now, after you've burned through your virtue, your vice, and your moment, your brink is the last thing that you can do to try to influence the dice roll. You sacrifice your brink, you either confess it or act it out. Some way, shape, or form, your brink comes back to bite you in the ass. And then you can re-roll the whole die pool. Okay? You score successes on 6s. You lose 1s from your die pool. So I'm going to, when you go to roll, I will ask you, okay, 6s and 1s, what'd you get? You just tell me how many successes you got, or how many 6s you rolled, and how many 1s. I will walk you through the rolls as we proceed. And I will make sure to present you with all of the options that the book also provides, as they become narratively appropriate, we'll say. Okay? But rules as written states only one of you can have your moment at the top of your personal deck. Does anyone want to take the lead on that one? If not, that's okay. Okay. Going once, going twice. All right, there we are. So once you've gotten your decks arranged, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, and then we will jump in. All right, excellent. So, last week was when the strange UFO was launched from the surface of the planet, and it streaked through the void of space, and the observers on the station were unable to keep track of it once it entered a certain angle of viewing with the sun. A few days later, after the incident, the sun's light has started to dim noticeably. The ambient light outside is no longer the stark white that it would be being out in outer space. It's now a sickly yellow bordering on orange. On the station, though, life proceeds as normal, or as normal as it can under these circumstances. How long you've been up here is ultimately up to you. But you've been trying to contribute. You've been trying to make sure that this last ship gets out to sea, so to speak. This is the last of the essential crew. All of the other people who were lucky enough to get berths on this station have already been launched. So we've got some critical research that we're finishing up. Some things that you need the full-blown lab to try to accomplish, or things that you need the resources and equipment here to get done. And once you're on the ship, that's it. Full stop. So the last day cycle of your lives is like any other. The alarm noting the change in the shifts goes off, and you all go about your day. I'm going to kind of just check and see here. We'll give everyone the opportunity to just kind of briefly describe what your characters are doing. We'll go around the screen like how we've did the intros. So, Dr. Mackenzie, what are you working on this morning? What's your high priority?
Right now, high priority is double and triple checking the greenhouse systems for the Ark to make sure that everything is set to go when we are able to actually restart the ship. Making sure the circulation of water, oxygen, and everything else, and nutrients is going through as I've instructed, and making sure that everybody on board in that area has their instructions on security and safety and things like that.
Does Dr. Mackenzie have a staff?
Dr. Mackenzie had a staff. Most of Dr. Mackenzie's staff have been launched on other arts. Dr. Mackenzie would have probably one person who has simply the job of doing the menial tasks, basically doing double, triple checking, and mainly administrative stuff, because all of this has already become pretty routine. Set it up, make sure it's circulating properly, make sure food production is going to be successful, etc., etc.
Understood. All right. And what's Roland doing this morning after he's had his breakfast, or if he even eats breakfast? What's Roland's high priority?
Coffee, and then following that, the usual rounds. I've been chasing a ghost in the power system since since I got aboard, and we don't have enough crew to deal with the problem. It's something in the power distribution, but it's finding its expression in lights primarily, and it's just been lights flickering in random places at random times. Sections will find itself in the dark, so probably me and my skeleton team are still going around. We fix it and then it breaks again, so it's been a nonstop dance of that.
Understood.
Yeah.
And how about Maya? What's Maya up to this morning?
I think Maya is busy trying to move as much of her equipment on the lab in the station to the Ark. As much of the none of it's really non-essential, especially if you ask her, but as much as she can start disconnecting without completely disrupting her research, then she's definitely very close to finding an answer to this, and to move it all to the Ark would just be lost time that she can't afford. So what she can, she's disconnecting, starting to transport to the Ark proper in the lab she has set up there.
Okay. And does Maya have any staff with her, or is she more of the or is she someone else's staff?
I think it's likely that she's someone else's staff.
Okay.
Someone who is probably busy doing something more important on the Ark itself.
Okay. You're one of the nuts and bolts of the machine, and someone else is actually pulling the lever, at least in the system that you're a part of. Understood.
Right.
Okay. All right. So, just a brief description here of the station. It's certain sections do have the rotational centrifugal force to act as artificial gravity. Other sections are specifically kept under 0G for various either scientific or engineering and construction purposes. These Ark ships could have never been built on the surface. It's the amount of mass that these ships actually are comprised of. The amount of resources and energy taken to get them out of atmosphere would have been beyond cost effective. It was almost impossible. The ships themselves, once they've been commissioned and they've been sent out basically using the equivalent of space tugs. They're larger unmanned vessels with grappling claws and like air propulsion to lug these things where they need to go. They get sent onto something called a sky hook, which is basically, think of a windmill in space that just goes and rotates, and that serves as the instead of blasting off like you would from the surface down below, the skyhooks, I think this term is appropriate, basically yeets the arcs into space. And then from there, there's traditional propulsion to do what it needs to do as far as course corrections and everything else, and then once they pass the Oort cloud, they're gone. Now, this platform itself, the station, is connected down below to the down to the planet below using a sky elevator system, which is exactly what or a space elevator system, which is exactly what it sounds like. There's a platform down below that lifts a carriage or car all the way up into outer space and to the station itself. The thing with this, however, is once the moon exploded and they started to exert more and more influence on the planet because of the vector, supplies stopped coming. The vector itself does eventually stop, but it has climbed up all of these support structures for the space elevator to get up to the platform, and then once it runs out of dense enough gas to keep the reaction going, it stops. Kind of think of it like a tree line on a mountain. So the platform's been safe from this vector. It's never been a concern, but that's been the primary reason why the station's been as isolated as it has been, and which is why Dr. Mackenzie and Maya their positions here on the platform are essential. They are needed to keep the food supplies going. These stations have been self-sufficient for a long time. They needed to be, just because of the sheer engineering, we'll say, effort involved to get these stations up. These were permanent placements. So, as you're going about your business for the day, Roland, the issue with the lights actually takes you into Dr. Mackenzie's lab, and Dr. Mackenzie, you've had an issue here for about the past half hour with the overhead lights strobing on and off. So, Roland, you show up with your tool bag. We'll say Dr. Mackenzie's lab / office is in one of the sections with the centrifugal force, so you're not floating around. So if you wanted to go ahead and have some role play, you can definitely take the opportunity to do so.
Sounds good. So Roland's going to come in kind of forgetting that he enters into someone's sacred space when you go into a science lab. So it's kind of like coming in and looking at the lights, and like he makes it about halfway into the room before, like, he's already done this probably with you a couple of times and knows not to barge into a sanctum sanctorum. So he just kind of lurks by the door and goes, "Hey, doctor."
Hey there, Roland. So they're flickering again.
Yeah, we've been chasing him down the hallway for way too long. It is. What's the longest duration of power outs?
Well, they usually last, like, they're flickering. They usually lasting like about a minute or so.
A minute is way longer than it was before the last reset. And I turn to one of my techs and babble back and forth, being like, talking about the capacity relay and how it's probably tied into the gravity system somehow, impedance, ohms, etc. Tech babble, then turn right back and I go, okay, are you okay if we take the lab lighting systems briefly offline, switch them back on, just do like a hard reset?
I mean, I guess. Sure. How long do you think that'll be off?
Like a 10-minute break could probably not be too crazy. I know.
All right. Well, you know what? Why don't I grab one of the lanterns that I have here, one of the emergency lanterns, just to keep it, light in here. Nobody trips over anything or anything like that. And Brianna's going to go and find one of the emergency lanterns and just turn it on. She's going to measure the level of the battery power on it and realize that it's like only about halfway full. And she's like, yeah, we don't have a lot left in this one. So yeah, if you guys can make it quick, I want to use this as little as possible.
Yeah, and we'll get that charge back up for you. Put it on the list for the emergency light. I'm just drowning. I'm sorry, doctor.
It's all good. You know what? Everything's been pretty crazy, pretty weird and strange and exceptional around here lately. And yeah, I mean, it's understandable. I just want to make sure I get this work done because we want to get that ship off, and the sooner we get out of here, the better, right? Yeah. We'll just keep on chasing ghosts until we figure out what's going on. Yeah. Thanks for your help, Roland. I appreciate it. Yeah. No, it's fine, doctor. And we'll see if we can do this without taking the gravity offline. He just wanders off into the hallway to get started on the shutdown before maybe like 2 minutes later poking his head back in and being like, we're gonna kill it if you're 1 second, did you say turn the gravity off? It would fix the
it would let us get into the guts of everything with the centrifugal force, with everything having to continue moving. Like we can't actually get into the guts of it to really do fixes. I wish we could turn the gravity off, but
are you going to turn any of the mags off?
Not this time.
Okay, because I'm gonna turn the mag on for all the equipment, so none of the microscopes and crap go flying. And I'm gonna turn my mag moves on. So you're not gonna turn the mag off?
We're planning on not turning any gravity off this time. It was just a theoretical. Like I think I could get into the guts of the thing. It'd be a whole thing. But you may notice a slight reduction. There's been slowdowns.
All right, I'm gonna turn it on just in case, just so that nothing goes flying.
Science is not an exact science, as I'm sure you know, but I think we can. Fingers are crossed. I think we'll be all right.
Cool. All right.
Go ahead and roll me 10 dice there, Roland, to do your check on the system.
Hey, okay. 10 dice, you say?
Yep. 10 d6s, please, sir.
And you need to know how many ones I get. Is that right?
Number of sixes and number of ones.
Okay. I have 3 6s and 1 1.
Okay. So, if you wanted to burn a virtue or vice there, you can if you wanted to save that 1-1, or you can invoke some game theory logic here and just let that 1 just go away, and the rest of the scene will continue with 9 dice.
That's a tricky call. Maybe invoke some game theory and just let that go with 9 dice.
Okay,
yeah,
sounds.
Give you 1.
Okay. Well, I actually don't use this yet. Yeah. So this is I cannot challenge for narrative control basically at all this scene. So this is all you all.
Okay.
All right. So but you do succeed. And so now you can narrate how you succeed with checking the system here.
Okay, so I'm thinking I get the team to basically do a hard power down and chase and like myself and maybe my senior tech will just start chasing junction boxes all around the ring, because I'm assuming it's a rotating ring thing, right? And that's where we've been having most of our problems. All while we're circling on this, so it's probably clatter, 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 and the pulling open of junction boxes and sparks and like real cowboy engineering. Because honestly, we're 1/6 of the crew we're supposed to be, so you can probably hear engineers cursing as they're overworked. They're climbing around in little like tubes inside of the ventilation systems where you can access them. Probably everybody on the ring can hear them just doing this and slowly freaking out about it, because this is probably time number 6 that they've been climbing around in these things. Frayed tempers for sure.
Excellent. So you're crawling around cramped space, and the rotation hasn't had to stop, so there's still a semblance of gravity here, and that's when Maya, you hear someone banging around inside the wall of your little lab section here, and that's when you hear a loud clang, and then you hear Roland maybe fuck, or something similar along those lines.
Son of a bitch.
I think Maya puts down the very sensitive and fragile equipment she's working with right now, and just very calmly walks over to the wall and just gives it a gentle knock and says, "Could you not be quite so loud right now? I don't want to drop something and break something and lose what I'm working on forever."
And you just get a knock back on the wall. I thought I was in tube 3. I thought I was next to the bathroom. Sorry. You hear as he like tries to shuffle further away to get to a further out junction box.
Okay.
You just hear her calling out, "I appreciate it."
Yep. Sorry.
And Maya, that's when your boss, we'll call him his name is Director Simeon. Okay? Director Simeon. Simeon. He comes out of the access corridor, and he's kind of looking over your lab space. How much longer do you think that's gonna take there, Maya?
Well, what I'm working on is extremely important and sensitive. It's not really a process that can be rushed, Director Simi, and it takes time, and I understand that time is short, but that is why I am trying to devote all of my focus towards this right now.
Right, and I'm telling you that, we've been working towards this ever since the 2070s.
Right?
And we've never been able to figure it out. Why do you keep working on this right here? It makes no logical sense.
And I think Maya just blinks for a moment and says, it would be such a waste to throw out the years and years of research we've done, and we have no idea if this thing will find a way to affect us up here. I mean, sure, it doesn't now, but we don't know what the future holds.
It doesn't really matter, though, in the end, because if we can get this last ship out of here, we'll be away from the stuff, and it isn't really gonna be relevant.
I disagree.
Okay, well, they haven't told me to pull the plug on your research just yet, but you're going to have to start figuring out what you're going to do for your storage space. Because I can tell you this all isn't going to come, and most of my equipment's actually going to take priority. So you're going to have to figure out limiting your gear to, I think it was 200 pounds.
Only 200 pounds?
Only 200.
I think Maya makes a face, like she's biting her tongue, and says, okay, I will start to figure out how I'm going to only narrow it down to 200 pounds, Director.
Look, I'm sorry, but my division was only granted 1,000 pounds cargo total, and the only reason you're getting that much is because most of the equipment is actually cross-applicable into other projects.
Of course.
So I'm throwing you a bone, as they say.
I appreciate it.
All right, well, okay. He has his head cocked, like maybe he thought I heard something.
Is something wrong?
Oh no, someone in the wall.
Oh, yes. Roland, I believe, is trying to fix something.
Oh, he's
super quiet. God damn it!
Oh, yeah, they're trying to track down the problem with the lights, right?
Right, yes, the flickering.
Well, hopefully another problem we won't have to worry about too much longer.
Right.
And Director Simeon just kind of bugs out into the hallway, and floats on about his business further off into the station. So now, Dr. Mackenzie, you do have to go over to Maya's section, just because you are needing to get some fungal spore samples from Maya's lab. There, it took me a while to get that formulated. But you do end up having to go over there. Maya, what are you currently working on right at this instant?
I mean, at that instant, after that conversation, I think she's devoted her full attention to this immunization. Because she doesn't want it to go to waste. Okay.
So, Dr. Mackenzie, you maybe come in maybe like a minute after Director Simeon leaves.
Hey, Maya. How's it going?
She holds up a finger. 1 second. And you see her dropping some kind of chemical into a small cylinder test tube with etched lines on it for measurement, and holding it up very carefully to her eyes, taking probably a solid 20 seconds to make sure it's exact.
Roll me 9 dice.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Well, there's 1 6, but there's also 3 1s.
That many ones this early, I would recommend if you've got your virtue or vice on the top, I would maybe look into maybe burning that, if that's just to say that's a lot of dice to lose this quickly.
The good news is I have my virtue on top, and I've been playing into her being very patient.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll go ahead and burn that.
And we'll say that the meticulous manner in which you're trying to do your work satisfies trying to do this patiently. So you can go ahead and re-roll those ones.
Okay, now I have 2 6s and no 1s.
Okay, so nice. So there you saved the dice. So the pool is still 9. I can't challenge your narrative control, so you can continue narrating what you're doing.
Okay. And I think after, like I said, about 20 seconds of just holding her finger up with one hand, holding the test tube in front of her eyes with her other hand, just after a moment, she lets out a small, like, satisfactory huff, sets it into its holder, writes something down and like sticks it on the tube as a label so she doesn't forget, and then turns around and says, Dr. Mackenzie, how can I help you?
There's some mushroom spores that I need. Some fungal spores, mushroom spores, whatever.
Which types?
The single lipin. The double Douglian.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's it. Also, I hate to do this to you again. I know it's twice in 1 week, but these power outages are really stressing me out. Can I use your closet for the...
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
I know it's twice in 1 week, and
yeah, that's fine. It's fine. We'll be out of here soon enough anyway, and we'll have to figure out another arrangement for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, those patches that you've given me have been helping, but I mean, everything this week has just been like basically driving me this way. So, all right. Well, awesome. Thanks. I'll grab the spores on my way out. I'm just gonna
go ahead. That closet, you know where it is.
Yeah.
I'll go collect the spore samples and I'll have them ready for you.
Awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it, Maya.
Of course.
So Dr. Mackenzie steps off into the closet to sneak a cigarette. If Director Simeon caught you smoking in his territory, you would, you'd have a fun conversation with him. But you go, you light up, and Jay, Roland, you're fiddling around with a conduit going into this junction box, and that's when the little service tube that you're in. The person who's been smoking, you think you finally... Oh, you got him. And so you're able to follow the scent of the cigarette smoke, and you manage to track it back to Maya's space.
Okay, and I'm probably covered in like tube dust and some oil, and I kind of come in through the door like, you don't smoke, do you? I'm gonna try to track down where this is coming from. Yeah.
Smoke? No, never. I've never smoked in my life.
Do you smell that?
No.
Okay. And probably like right at that moment, the power dies. Mm-hmm. So I'm wandering around like, and then just darkness. Fuck.
I thought you were fixing that.
Yeah, that's things break before they fix. I'll be right back. And I head over to a panel on the wall in this room and just kind of pull it open. You may not have even been aware it was there, kind of like down behind some stuff and like digging around for a second. And it's like, okay, hey, Hayes in the wall. Hit 3, okay?
Okay.
Hit it.
All right.
Panel 3.
Got it.
A chunk, and it makes that like sci-fi.
Does it? Does it? Roll me 9 dice, please.
It's really if it's gonna blow out is the question, because now it's charged. Let's delete that. I'll take that. 3 with no ones.
Excellent.
3 6s, no ones.
Right.
I will happily take that.
You can keep narrating the scene.
Okay, so it does that sci-fi sound, and everything. It probably died so gradually that nobody noticed, but you feel your feet just a little bit more firmly on the ground because they had to draw power from the gravity systems, slow the spin down a little bit. I think we got it. Hey, how's it look on your end?
We got a problem.
Fuck. Okay, what?
We have a big problem. You need to get up here.
Okay. Fuck. They get up from under or behind a panel and just kind of look at Maya for a second. So, smoking in an oxygen-rich atmosphere, it's a great way to kill everybody here.
If I find who's been doing it, you will be the first person I tell, Roland. I promise you.
I get it. Like, everybody's under stress and pressure, but turning the air into a 3,000-degree firestorm that kills literally everybody on the ship is probably not worth having a smoke. Vape like a normal person. That's my suggestion. All right, see ya.
And Maya turns back to the little, I guess it would be a little refrigerated. I guess you just call those refrigerators. A little refrigerator with different sorts of samples, and she starts pulling out the spore samples that Dr. Mackenzie asked for. She puts them in a small box so that she can transport it, and then she also grabs some nicotine patches to also throw in there. And I think as the camera like pans over that, it's like the last of the nicotine patches. It's like, let's say 2. It's the last 2.
Nicotine is a non-essential substance, at least. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, so Dr. Mackenzie finishes her smoke and comes out of the little closet, and you see Maya's basically prepared her little gift basket here for you.
All right, thanks, Maya. I appreciate it.
Of course, all the samples are in there. I also threw in some extra patches. Listen, they're the last ones. Roland was down here. He could smell the smoke.
I know. He was lecturing everybody on vaping like 2 weeks ago or something like that. And it's like, I mean, there's still smoke. It's...
No, I know. He brought that up here, and Hayes was calling about a problem, and I didn't want to keep him here longer than he had to be. Just try to use the patches. There aren't a lot, though.
I only have 1 pack left, and then I have to rely on my tobacco plants that haven't even grown yet. So, we'll see how this goes.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks. Gotta get back to work. Are you making any progress, by the way?
And Maya looks back at the test tubes and says, I think so. I think I've made a lot of progress. I think that I can finish this before we have to leave.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know when that's going to be. They haven't given me a new date yet. Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard any specifics, but Director Simeon was in here earlier, and he was very urgent. So
urgent
about making sure that we are loaded up on the Ark, making sure that I only bring a limited amount of my own equipment with me, making sure that I have all of that figured out and ready to go. He made it seem like whatever was going to happen might be happening soon. At least in my eyes.
All right, I'm going to have a conversation with him because I seem to be the last person to know any of this stuff. Limited amount of equipment, but don't you need all of this?
Maya rolls her eyes and says, I do need all of it. He seemed to think he was throwing me a bone by saying I could only bring 200 pounds of equipment.
200 pounds?
Mm-hmm, that's what I said.
Wow. Okay, so one of my bigger microscopes weighs probably about 100. So I couldn't do that.
No, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Apparently, the only reason I'm even getting it is because of a lot of it is... I forgot the term he used.
You can say cross-disciplinary. That works.
Yeah, cross-disciplinary. It has more uses than my own research.
They haven't given me any limits yet, so I've been just slowly moving stuff over. Yeah, I'll have a talk with him. Or maybe I shouldn't have a talk with him because then, better to ask for forgiveness or blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Maya. And Dr. Mackenzie grabs the spore samples and nicotine patches and kind of shuffles her way back over to her own lab.
Mm-hmm. So, Roland, you're tracking down where Hayes was, and you get into the access hatch, and you clamber up into the tube where he is, and you can see him kind of backed as far away from the panel that he can be, and he's got his flashlight just trained on the junction box.
What's going on?
I found why we've been having the power problems over the past week. And you get closer. You've seen pictures of it, and you've maybe seen some very carefully quarantined samples of it here and there. But growing from this junction box is a shard of the vector material. It's thin, it's about as wide or is about as wide across as the palm of your hand. It's about as thin as a couple of sheets of paper. So it's translucent. It's black. And you know from the safety briefings that any organic or any animal that comes into contact with it, the stuff basically spreads like a cancer in their system. The stuff relies on the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, anything with an atmosphere serves as, or any kind of atmosphere serves as a fuel for the chemical reaction that this stuff goes through. The fact that this stuff is on the platform is very, very bad. And you can see Hayes, his flashlight's actually shaking a little bit. The safety brief says fire, right? We have to burn this off, right?
Yeah, we do, but you should probably report it first. How the hell did it even get in here?
I don't know.
Did you touch it?
No. The lights came on and it was there.
And now I'm assuming, storyteller, that we haven't actually seen this stuff on board the ship before.
Correct.
I'm gonna get on the ship-wide comm and call a lockdown in the section we're in.
Okay. Roll me 9 dice to try to find the comm panel.
Okay. Because this seems like a really big deal.
It is a really big deal.
I don't want one of my staff coming through the tube from the other side and getting and touching it. 5 and 1. How did I get 5 6s? Damn.
Oh,
5 and 1.
So 5 successes and 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna sacrifice the 1-1? Or are you gonna?
I kind of feel like this, like I could do resourceful to pitch it again. Is it worth losing the 1 at this point? Like I don't.
You'd have 8 dice. That's still a pretty healthy pool to keep forward with.
Okay. All right. Let's do that then.
Okay. All right. So you are now at 8 dice communally here, players.
Okay.
Now, that many successes. You're able to find the comm panel. You can go ahead and you have narrative control of the scene.
Okay. And I'm just gonna hit the big button for a universal comms in this section. Attention, everyone! I need everyone to remain in their rooms. I need a command officer to make their way down to the science section immediately. Do not leave your rooms. I repeat.
So. Dr. Mackenzie, you haven't made it back to your lab yet when you hear Roland's voice over the PA. What's your reaction to this?
How far away am I?
From your lab?
Yeah, from my current position to the lab, how far is it?
It's about 25, 30 foot.
Okay. I'm gonna. Dr. Mackenzie is gonna speed up as much as she can with the samples that she has. Kind of like a very fast speed walking to get to her lab.
Roll me 8 dice, please.
It's bad.
Okay, so what do we have? So no 6s?
No 6s, but only 1-1. So, but no successes. So.
Mm-hmm. So you can now. You've already you already burned No, you haven't burned yet. No, yeah, you can. No. If you want to go ahead and burn your card to re-roll that one, you can. Otherwise, the scene ends. We lose a candle and we progress forward.
Well, burning my vice for 1/1 that doesn't have a huge chance of getting a 6. I mean, statistically, it's probably not going to happen. I am probably not going to get a success on this one die. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going, I'm going to have to call it and say, yeah, we're going to have to turn or put out a candle because this isn't even going to be worth it.
That works. Now we are going to speak our truths. I'm going to close out the scene, and we'll go and we'll do the round table. So you're trying to make your way back to the lab with the samples when the lights go out again, and this time the rotation of the section of the station, it doesn't stop, but you can tell when the drive is no longer functional. It's only a matter of time before the friction does take place and does eventually stop the section of the ship or the station. You were caught unawares, unfortunately, and you ended up losing your balance, and all of the stuff that you were carrying hits the deck, and one of the spore samples breaks. And now we will speak our truths. We go around. I always start off this part of the game. This is it's supposed to be kind of like a ritual. We say, or I start off with, "This much is true: the world is dark," and then we proceed around the table to speak truths about the world. You can do, as I explained off camera, you can do basically anything that you want except make them weaker. Since Dr. Mackenzie, since you were the one who failed and ended the scene, you will speak. It's technically the second truth, because this much is true: the world is dark. And now it is your turn to speak the next truth.
This is true. Mm-hmm. When Dr. Mackenzie was in the closet having her cigarette, she blinked her eyes and thought she saw red eyes staring back at her.
This is true. When the spore sample broke, it traveled up into the vents and made contact with the vector.
Those spores were recently gathered from Earth and were already tainted. Roland, do you have the fifth truth?
This is true. There's no avoiding it anymore. We have to switch off gravity if we want to repair the power systems.
This is true. Dr. Mackenzie isn't sure if the ship has enough food for 6 months.
This is true. While the lights were off, one of Maya's chemicals went missing.
The sun is starting to turn red. And Roland, you get the last truth.
This is true. There is something catastrophically wrong with one of the spacesuits.
Okay. All right, so that was the ninth truth for the ninth candle that is lit right now, and so we close off the ritual by repeating "and we are still alive," and I will direct that here. So it's 1, 2, 3, and we are still
alive.
That works. Excellent. All right, so the lights come back on. All of the truths that we've established are now, narratively active, so to speak. We pick up with Dr. Mackenzie. You see the sample vial shatter when it hits the metal of the metal deck of the floor there, and you do catch a little faint wisp of white kind of drift off and kind of like vaporize into the air. Now, Roland, you're up there in that hatch. The light comes, or you're up there in that tube, the light comes back on, and you see that the vector has actually started to spread in the junction box. Now, this stuff, it looks part mineral, part plant. So it's got a very sharp fractal, almost like like palm frond design. Okay. And it does occasionally snake a tendril and kind of like waft through the air current.
You said fire? I'm waiting for the command officer, but we might not have that much time.
Yeah, the chemical fires, just and any kind of fire, I guess, works.
All right. I'm going to run back to the engineering section, which borders on the science section, see if I've got some kind of liquid propellant that we can use to soak it in and ignite it in a controlled burn. I'm worried about the air catching fire, but...
Go ahead. 9 dice there, Roland.
All right. 1, 1, and 3 6s.
Okay.
The 1-1 is the part that I don't like. Can I burn resourceful?
Yep, you can. All
Okay.
right. So yeah. Go ahead and describe to me how you're going to resourcefully try to burn off this vector.
I think I want to combine, because the idea is high heat, low flame. I think I want to combine a few chemical components, like some of the plastic materials that we use to make the fabricator that we have, which is basically like a metal printing 3D printer. I want to make a hard encased, high phosphorus content napalm, basically something that'll burn real hot but real small, using some of those components.
Okay.
And basically cover it in hot goo and then ignite said hot goo. Yeah.
All right, so let's see if you can save that one. You're already going to succeed with this, but let's see if you save the one.
Okay, so I roll 1 die.
You've got that 1-1. You can go ahead and re-roll that 1-1. Yep, to see if you save it.
That is a 5.
It is saved. So
nice.
We still have 9 dice continuing.
Nice.
And it works as you described. You maybe there's that moment of nervousness when you reach out to ignite it, like, I hope I got my chemical ratios correct, and you do. There's some sparking. You've seen thermite go off before. It's got a similar effect. It's more of a spatter than a spark, though. But you do see that the substance does as advertised, and the safety briefing was correct. The vector seems to disappear almost as quickly as it would have appeared. It does let off a faint, oily, residual smoke which does quickly dissipate. Safety briefing hasn't said anything about that, at least in these conditions, but this junction box has been cleared of the vector. Unfortunately, this junction box is damaged, and as previously discussed, you're going to have to reroute power from elsewhere in the ship, and or elsewhere in the station, and in order to do that, you are going to have to get further down into the guts, which is going to necessitate having to stop the rotation.
Well, this wasn't how I thought today was going to go.
So, Maya, the power comes back on. What are you going to be doing here now?
I think as the power comes back on and Roland had just called for the lockdown, Maya is going to go quickly lock her office door.
Okay.
To make sure no one tries to get in because she isn't super sure what's happening. And then she's going to move back to continue with her current research with what she was working with. And at that point, notice that something is missing.
Okay. Go ahead and roll off 9 dice, please.
Dang. Okay. I have 2 6s and 2 1s.
Okay. You gonna burn anything?
Let's see, I have my vice cowardly.
Hiding yourself in your office instead of trying to help out would actually be a good cowardly way to, if you wanted to burn it.
Yeah, let's keep burning.
Okay.
What could go wrong?
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing.
Exactly. Go ahead and let's see if you save those ones.
I saved one of them. I still rolled 1-1.
Okay. So there's 8 dice now continuing forward?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So 8 dice continuing forward. Now, you can continue narrating from there. What's missing?
I think that what is missing is a container of ionized plasma.
Potent shit.
Which is a substance that she was working with. I think not only was she working with, but was something that she had to spend a lot of time synthesizing herself.
Mm-hmm.
So when she went to use it previously, she was only using it in very, very small amounts because she needed to conserve it, and now the entire vial has gone missing.
Now, this is plasma as in blood plasma, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yes. Not the
energy source plasma.
Not the blood sample.
Yeah.
Not the blood sample from a drone that you managed to collect, but different plasma.
Different plasma. Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. So that's gone missing. You're continuing about with your research.
She's the second she notices that's missing, she's starting to go through everything in a panic.
Well, we'll pan over to we'll go back to that here in a moment. So, Dr. Mackenzie, you saw the little poof of spores go up into the air, and you hear some footsteps clomping on the deck behind you. The heavy tread of the military when they're getting involved in the civilian side of the section here. All right, yeah. Who called the lockdown?
Wasn't me. I'm just trying to get back to my lab.
All right, well, someone called the lockdown. There was a guy's voice. Who called it? Any idea?
It sounded like it might have been a Roland, but I'm not sure. Like, it was kind of like it was fuzzy. I didn't hear it too well, so it may have been Roland. He
Good.
was.
Damn it, Hoffman. Damn it, Hoffman. All right. And where did you see him last?
He came into my lab and he was telling me that he was going to be fixing the issue with the lights. And Dr. Mackenzie is kind of like, I know that I saw him in the other lab, but I'm not going to say anything.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. So the man nods. Yeah, you can tell off of his uniform that he's a general. He's General Taylor. He's actually getting up there in years. But he's one of those grizzled vets that the older he gets, the more pissed off and grumpy he looks. But he looks like the kind of individual that is going to take God himself coming down and killing this man to make it happen. He is a stubborn old bastard, and he's not going to go peacefully. But all right, I gotta find Hoffman. And,
all right, General, can I go back to my lab now, or are you still need me for something?
You go back to your lab, and I'm gonna find him. And he goes on down. Now, is Roland still up in the tunnels, or is he down like in the hallways now?
He's probably climbing down from it, sort of as they because I would have already started the fire and put it out. And then come down and just kind of been leaning up against the ladder into the vent tubes, just like.
And that's when General Taylor trumps. He rounds the corner and he trumps down the hallway. Hoffman, did you call the lockdown?
I did, General.
All right, what's going on?
Sorry, just out of character. What is that stuff called again? You said it was
They've just been calling it the Vector.
The Vector. We found Vector in the vents, and it was expanding very quickly with the blinking of the lights, so we were forced to destroy it. But I think we should do a thorough search of this whole deck, this whole floor. It doesn't just appear, so I don't know how it could have gotten in there.
Shit. This is of course this is the exact thing that would go fucking wrong. God damn. Look, all right, you get your people together, you do what you need to do. We do need to do a top-down search. I gotta get over to the ship. Damn it. I've got important work to do. Hoffman, you get these people out of here.
You want me to get them clear of this deck? Is that right?
Put the idea maybe in the back of your head that we're going to have to do an evac.
Okay. I think Hayes and I should also go to medical just to make sure nothing happened up there. We didn't touch it. But
yeah,
safety.
Well, is Hayes out of character? Did Hayes go up, or is Hayes still up there?
Hayes is probably down here with me. We were probably conversing after just climbing down, and yeah.
Okay. Well, General Taylor's looking him over. Okay, yeah, that is not a bad idea. God, I gotta get going. All right, double time, make it happen. All right.
Okay.
And he goes and he runs off. So Maya, has anything else gone missing?
That's a good question. I think some small bits of lab equipment have also gone missing. Not any other substances, but just like little empty vials and containers that weren't being used.
Gotcha. Maya, you hear Director Simeon knocking on your lab door. Hello? Maya, open up.
Just a moment. And Maya's gonna try to organize everything as things started to be thrown in a bit of disarray as she searched and searched and searched for where it could have gone. And eventually she'll go over and unlock the door and open it up and say, Director, I think we're supposed to be on lockdown.
Lockdowns don't apply to directors. Now, look, we've got a problem. There's growth in my office.
In your office?
Yes, and I need you to help me take care of it.
When you say growth, what specifically do you mean, Director?
It's not the vector, but it looks like it.
It looks like it?
Just come with me.
And Maya's gonna probably find something similar to what Roland had, some sort of igniter that she has in her own office, because I imagine they have them stationed around the ship as a safety precaution. She's going to grab one from her own little lab and start following Director Simeon.
And Dr. Mackenzie, that's you're kind of getting situated back in your neck of the woods, and your office happens to be by medical, and that's when you see Roland and Hayes come tromping down the hallway.
Hey, Roland, what's going on? What happened? You called? I think it was you that called for lockdown?
I did. We found something in the vents. Not great. I don't want to cause a panic, but PR is not exactly my thing, and nobody said not to say anything. So we're pretty sure it was Vector in the vents.
How did it get up here?
I don't know. We should be thinking about maybe clearing this deck, though. General Taylor just kind of left it in my hands, but I'm a fucking engineer, so I don't know why he left it in my hands.
Do you think it got to the ship?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything since we've gotten here that would support the hypothesis, but it's possible that it's just been kind of lurking. Maybe us having increased traffic through the vents has caused it to come out. I don't.
Roland, if it hit the ship, then all our food production is done, because every single plant and every single seed that it comes into contact with, it's going to infect. And every single person that eats that food, every carrot that they eat, every tomato that they eat, they're going to get infected. We're done if it gets to the ship.
What do we
how do we shut this down? Like, how do we get ourselves into, how do we shut this, keep it from going any further? Can you cut it off somehow?
We redistribute. It hates light. We know that, right? I could redistribute the power system so that it's exclusively light. If maybe we switch off gravity, turn on every light at 100%. But I mean, we'd need to redistribute from somewhere else on the ship. So if it's somewhere else on the ship, then
okay. Can we cut it off before it gets to the ship? Though, like, by this, I mean, how fast is it spreading?
It was in the dark. It was spreading really fast. Like I had to do a little controlled burn because I thought if we lost the lights again, it would take over the whole vent system. I watched it jump when the lights died.
Okay. Can we flood? Yeah, as you said, I'm in agreement. If we can flood, I don't care if the gravity goes off. And Dr. Mackenzie points at her mag boots. these will keep me on the ground and my equipment. Well, I'll pack it away in one of our mag containers and start just packing it into the ship. There's not a lot left anyway, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. If we lose the food systems, we're in a lot more trouble than just the lights. I'll get my team prepped for doing the killing of Grav, and I'll get them to make a notice. But Hayes and I have to go by medical first. We were in the hallway with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the info.
Yes. I'm sorry about all of this. I don't know how
it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's we need to react, and we need to react in a way that it's gonna save at least, like, how many hundreds and thousands of people are going to be getting on this last arc. Like, we need to make sure that they have food. And between you and me, I'm not even sure if we can make it 6 months, if any of this, we got cut off from everything. So I'm not even sure if we can make it 6 months. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, but yeah, it's not your fault, obviously.
Okay. Maybe spread the word with the other scientists. Let them know that we might be having to kill Grav here. Also, I know that I overheard, because I was in the other lab, that you guys have a space issue, or a weight restriction being applied that's crazy over the top. I've got about 150 pounds in engineering, since we're the one thing that's actually getting reduced as time goes on. You guys can take that space for essential kit if you want.
Okay. I don't even know if I have a restriction, but I'll let Maya know, because she's getting really concerned about her restriction. So I'll send her a message through our intercom and just let her know that she can have that space. Thanks. That's definitely going to help her.
Okay, cool. I would go, but fish, bigger fish.
You take care of you.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.
All right, and I'm going to go with Hayes to medical.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Maya, she's in Director Simeon's office with Director Simeon. You can see his office looks like an IKEA factory exploded. As far as the aesthetic that he goes for, it's very, very white, very minimalistic, very, we'll say high concept, minimal, but it makes him seem even more pretentious sitting there in this plain stark white office. The thing that isn't stark white about this office, though, is in fact this weird growth coming out of a air circulation vent. Now, much like Roland, you've been briefed about the Vector. You probably have worked directly with it at some point in time over the course of your career. The circumstances I'll leave up to you if that's even the case, but with this here, it definitely has more. It doesn't look more plant-like. It looks more like a fungus. It's got a similar shape and structure as like a morel mushroom, with the waves and the divots in like the cap, but it is vector. But it does seem to appear like if you were to reach out and touch it, you think it would probably be soft and spongy versus the hard and sharp as the vector normally would be.
Mm-hmm. I think the first words out of Maya's mouth when she sees it are, "Oh, that's fascinating."
Can we save the curiosity for later? Do you know anything about this?
No, I've never seen this in my life, but if the vector has evolved somehow, we should take a sample of it.
I don't want a sample of it. I want to destroy it.
Oh no, we should absolutely destroy it, but if something's changed in it, then I might need a sample of it.
Well,
Also, how did it get on the ship?
I don't know. This is also very, very confusing to me as well. It's been a strict quarantine and no one's been coming up here. This makes no sense at all. But we've got, look, I've heard that we're getting ready to launch. Like, it's going to be happening very, very soon. Which is
How
why
soon?
like end of third shift today.
End of third shift today,
Yes.
and they haven't said anything.
I honestly have no idea why.
Shit. Okay. I'm trying to think if Maya would make the bad choice that I still want her to make here in this situation, which is to try to get a very small sample of it. But with that, would there be a safe procedure that they've worked out to collect samples of this?
Not really.
Or is it just no? Okay,
Yep.
Then I won't bother, because if it's not something that's been done before, she's not going to try to do it right now.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense. So she will move a little closer to it with the igniter that she brought with her, and also try to perform a controlled burn on this.
I would think that these little igniters are basically the equivalent of they'd be like the size of like a 32-ounce water bottle, except these are they're like a butane torch. It's going to keep a short, controlled, high temp burn that you're not going to have to worry about. We'll say more. We'll say more volatile gases causing problems in the artificial atmosphere.
Right.
You can go ahead and we're at 8 dice, I believe. You can go ahead and roll 8 dice to start burninating the fungus here. I try to work in the strong bad references when I can.
That's 4 successes, but 2 ones.
What are we going to do with those ones?
Yeah, I already burned my vice earlier in the scene, so I don't think I can do anything.
That is correct. Nope. So those are gone, which leaves us with how many dice now?
6 dice.
Okay, so those 6 dice continuing. I can't challenge for narrative control yet because of how many successes you scored. It wouldn't even be worth it. So it's still your scene. You can go ahead.
Okay. And in that case, I think Maya aims the igniter at this fungal vector and starts burning it. But I think she manages to burn what's there away.
Okay.
I think she manages to do that, but it is in a mushroom form now. And no matter how hard you try, mushrooms will still release spores into the air. And I think as she burns it, the major growth burns away, but little bits of vector fungi start to sprout from the ceiling.
As it burns off, it produces that oily smoke as I described earlier, but now this time, instead of dissipating, it actually starts to that is how the growth on the ceiling starts.
From the smoke.
And Dr.
And Maya... Oh, sorry.
And Director Simeon, that's new and not good.
No. And Maya starts to aim her igniter up towards that and then thinks better of it and says, I think we need to figure out a new way to handle this. We should lock down your office, make sure no one comes in here, seal off everything, seal off the vents. Your office may not be usable anymore, which apparently doesn't really matter because we're apparently leaving very shortly.
I don't know. At least that's what I heard. Look, I need to get in contact with General Taylor and figure out what exactly is going on. Why don't you go ahead, start the lockdown procedure on the office, and
Right.
Maybe I'll be back with General Taylor. We'll see.
Okay.
And
Maya will start to do that, start to initiate the lockdown, call for, I guess you would send a message to Roland asking him to seal off the vents to Director Simeon's office, seal them off completely as she locks the door and bars it from anyone being able to get inside.
And from medical, I'll get my team to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Now you're not quite at medical yet, Roland. We'll get to you here in a second. Yeah. Now, Dr. Mackenzie, what have you been doing during this whole exchange?
Well, after Dr. Mackenzie talked to Roland, she basically started packing what was left of her equipment into basically a big, huge maglev crate. And she has also taken the spore sample that didn't break and putting it in the crate. She is taking the last of the plant experiments and putting them in and basically packing everything up. She's also sent a message to Maya via their email-ish system.
They would have, you would all have like PDAs, and there's a local Wi-Fi network. Yeah,
exactly. Basically saying, Roland just said you get another 150 pounds. We need to get out of here. Flood everything with light. And Dr. Mackenzie is going to advise that one person on the ship that's dealing with the existing greenhouse that she set up, just to basically isolate the system, isolate the greenhouse, make sure nothing gets to it, make sure it's self-sufficient, because she doesn't want any of the circulation in the ship to actually get to the greenhouse. And she's going to start making her way to the ship.
So that's kind of a tall order there. Why don't you go ahead and roll me some dice, please?
Yeah. How many do we have left?
6, I believe.
6. I did not get any ones. And I got 1 6. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, I did get 1 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 1 1 and 1 6.
Okay.
And
what are we gonna do about that 1?
You know what? I'm gonna try and re-roll it. My vice is on top.
Okay.
My vice is addicted. So I'm gonna.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try and re-roll that one and see what happens.
Okay.
And I got a 2.
Okay, so you saved the die. 1 success. I can roll the challenge. You still have narrative control, so you can say that they go about their business, but you can continue forward with the scene as if everything goes off without a hitch.
Okay, before Dr. Mackenzie completely leaves with the mag, she basically just sits down in a corner of her lab. She quietly takes out a cigarette, looks down at her pack, sees she only has 7 left, and just slowly lights a cigarette and just tugs away for about 5 minutes, and then puts it out in one of the soil samples that she has.
Like that. Now, Roland, as I said before, I was going to get to you here. You and Hayes are standing outside a medical. It's eerily quiet here in this section of the station. And the door to medical is actually barred from the inside. You are trying to open it like you normally would, but it's refusing you access.
I'm gonna hit the call key on the outside. It's Roland. Anybody home?
Hello, Roland. Do you have a medical emergency that needs attention?
We wanted to get ourselves checked out just in case before we go about our day. You okay in there?
Is he bleeding or have any broken bones?
No, but vector exposure is a conversation we might want to have.
There's no response.
Cool. Is this usually what medical behaves like?
No.
Okay.
No. The voice on the other side, I mean, it sounded normal. You don't recognize that individual's voice, though.
That's not a good thing. I'm going to turn to Hayes. We should go back to engineering right now and get a camera up in there. We need a feed like right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's go. And you go back to engineering. Go ahead and try to get the camera feed set up.
Yeah. Now I know we're not in security, which is where that would be, but we pretty much have access to all the computer systems because we're
your skeleton crew. They've loosened some restrictions.
Plus, even if we didn't, we're the computer nerds who built this shit. So
yep.
Well, that's okay. 2 successes with no. Oh, sorry. We're 6 dice.
Yes, 6 dice.
6 dice. Okay, yeah. So 2 successes with no ones.
Oh, okay. I can't challenge for narrative control, so it's still your scene. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's pull up the camera feed for medical. I want to have a look at what is going on in there and whether we need to just kill this whole ship with fire.
So you pull up the feed, and it would look normal in here if you were looking in at a camera feed of like the floor of a tropical rainforest. There's vector growth all over the inside of medical, and you see that there are 2 bodies on in the treatment area, and they are covered in head to toe with that strange fungal vector hybrid. And there's another person in the room sitting at a desk. It looks like they're trying to speak through an intercom. You don't recognize this person. There's strange bulbous masses stretching out their uniform, and you can see what looks like it would be if you took the shelf fungus that you see growing on the sides of trees. If you splice that with vector, and it was just growing out of their face.
Hey, seal the air vents to that room and give me 300% lights.
Okay. And he does so. and you see that the two bodies on the treatment tables start to convulse and shake, and those mushrooms explode, spreading more clouds through the air. Now that the air circulation has been shut off to this part of the facility, the room gets hazier and hazier and hazier to where eventually you can't see anything on the feed. The room is that full.
Well, that's bad, but I'm glad we sealed the room. Do we have an adjacent wall to space? Can we put that in space?
No, that chamber's internal.
Son of a bitch. Means we got to clear vents if we want to purge it. Do we have a readout on pressure in there? Is it likely to blow a seal?
I can't pull that up on here.
Fuck. Okay. I want to call Taylor.
Okay. Dr. Mackenzie, you hear from down the hall where medical would be, as you're getting your stuff out of your office ready to make the trip to the ship, you hear a strange, high-pitched, unnatural screaming echoing down the corridor.
Is it the corridor going towards where I'm going, or the corridor that is leading to where I am going, or the corridor that is...
It's opposite.
Okay, so, yeah. I'm going to hightail it the opposite way, screaming or not. The food is more important.
Mm-hmm. And just so we can touch base with Maya, what's Maya doing right now?
Yeah, Maya is sending a response to Dr. Mackenzie. I think the extra 150 pounds of equipment doesn't go unnoticed, but it goes unremarked on, because instead what she says is, we're leaving before the... Did he say before the end or by the end of third shift?
By the end of third shift.
He said, Director Simeon said we're leaving by the end of third shift. Make sure you have everything ready to go. Second message, there's Vector present on the station. It seems to have evolved into some sort of fungus that is spreading spores. Third message, did you take something from my office when you were in there?
Dr. Mackenzie replies just in one message to all three, because she's gotten these three in probably in rapid succession. She replies, I found out to flood it with light if you can. Anywhere that you see it, just flood it with light. I'm already on my way out. No, I didn't take anything. The only thing I have is the spore sample that you gave me and the nicotine patches. Oh yeah, the second spore sample broke when the lights went out because I lost my balance. I tried to keep it, but I couldn't.
And Maya reads that, and I think it's safe to say that some things click in her mind. And I think she just sends back Roger on light, and then is there a way to... Oh no, I think she'll just send another message to Roland and say, if you're able to flood Director Simeon's office with light as well.
You just get a thumbs up emoji. And I will do so if I can.
Go ahead and try it.
All right. Still 6.
Yep.
6. 1 success with no ones. That wasn't spectacular, but it's turning on a light switch, though it is probably a complex redistribution of power at the same time.
So it's my scene. I tied, and Ty goes to the storyteller.
Crap.
So You are able to successfully redistribute the power, and you do flood Dr. Simeon's office with the light. Maya, you're standing outside and you can actually hear things inside there going pop, pop, pop. It's loud and it sounds like someone punching a hole through a sheet of tin.
Okay. Does it sound like... Does the popping sound like something's about to break through the room?
No.
Or does it feel very contained?
It feels contained.
Okay. Maya's going to walk away from that because she's done about all she can do on there. She'll send a message to Director Simeon saying, we're handling the vector in your office. I don't think it's safe to go in there until we have some visual confirmation. And then she's going to... So Maya knows something about Dr. Mackenzie.
Oh, okay.
Because of what she's seen.
Yes.
Right? Because the person we gave our brink, like, our character saw that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to go to where... Let me just ask out of character. Is it, like, okay to vocalize someone else's brink?
It's probably not a good idea right now.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
In that case, she's going to return to her lab. I have something else she can do.
Okay. All right. So, Dr. Mackenzie, you said you were making your way to the ship, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you get to the end of your section of the ship with your mag crate or your maglith crate, and there is a armed security checkpoint at the juncture to continue down the main access corridors and get to where the Ark ship is. And you see that there's several individuals kind of stacked up outside this security checkpoint arguing with the guard, trying to get through. This is where you need to get through this door in order to get to the ship.
What's the problem here?
Look, I can't let anybody in right now. If you've got official business, you are going to need to take it up with General Taylor. The construction and launch sections of the station have been shut down. You cannot enter right now.
Is there another way to get on that ship?
No, thank God.
What do you mean, thank God?
We've got problems up here, Doctor, if you hadn't noticed.
Get the general down here.
Look, General Taylor's kind of busy right now.
Oh, that's fine. I'm the one who's going to be feeding General Taylor.
Go ahead and roll
if
some
General
dice.
Taylor even makes it off the station.
Go ahead and roll some dice.
How many dice am I?
Six still? Yeah.
Okay. Why me?
You failed again?
I have 1 and I have no 6s. This time, I think I'm actually gonna try, and I'm going to burn my virtue.
Okay. Oh, you already burned the scene though, didn't you?
Oh crap! Yes. Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Crap,
you
I
did.
can't. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, then we fail.
All right. So we are now on 8 candles. Things should hopefully start picking up here now.
Honestly, these dice hate me. So.
Might be time to put those in jail.
Yep.
Yes.
Dice jail time.
Yeah.
So, you're arguing with this security guard. He's uniformed. He's a private in the Space Force. But you're trying to make your case, but it's clear that he is having none of this from a lippy civilian. And he's actually puts his hand down. He's got a sidearm. As I said, he's armed. And he's not actually like pulling it and holstering it and drawing it, but he's making it clear that he's not afraid to do so. He puts his hand up. Doctor, I will make sure that General Taylor gets in contact with you, but no one is allowed any further outside of the civilian sections at this time. Thank you. And,
all right.
And
so Dr. Mackenzie moves back then and doesn't give him any more lip because she doesn't really feel like dying today. I mean... Mm-hmm. And she sends Maya a message, says, looks like we're not allowed out. The army is stopping us from getting out of here. And if you see General Taylor, let him know that his food consumption for the next however many years depends on me getting the hell out of here.
And that will be where we will now start speaking our truths. So this much is true. The world is dark. Dr. Mackenzie, you get this truth again.
This much is true, or this is true that the director inhaled a small amount of the spores.
All right, Maya.
This is true. There are still samples of the same fungus that Dr. Mackenzie broke.
The spores ending up on the space station was a clerical mistake. They were supposed to go elsewhere.
This is true. We're not ready to launch today.
This is true. The remaining seedlings in Dr. Mackenzie's maglev crate have already been infected.
Dr. Simeon is coming back to have a conversation with Maya.
This is true. The power system, the power system as built, will require a spacewalk to redistribute that power.
Okay, an EVA needed for power redistribution.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and to close out the ritual, 1, 2, 3, and we are still alive. All right, so we're on to our 8th candle here after a little brief pause for bio and hydration. But we're going to pick up the next scene with Dr. Mackenzie and Roland having met up with Maya outside of Dr. Simeon's office, or Director Simeon's office. Inside the office, you can still hear the occasional pop and ping from what you're assuming to be the vector shrooms doing their thing under high light circumstances. Now, Dr. Mackenzie, you've got your mag crate with you. Maya, you've also, you're basically like just 5-10 foot away from your own lab space where you still have your stuff. Now, Roland, is Hayes still with you, or did you send Hayes off to go do something?
Hayes is probably with me at this point. I wanted to know what was going on over there, which is probably why I left engineering to come here. I think we're together at the present moment.
Okay, so the three of you are standing outside of Director Simeon's office, and you hear everything that is going on, and you all three may have a little bit of role play.
So what's going on in there?
The director's office had a growth coming out of the vent, some sort of vector, but it wasn't the typical vector we've seen before. It was mixed with some sort of fungus. If I had to guess,
Fuck!
the fungus, yes, exactly. You've caught up.
Damn it!
I
haven't
incinerated
really-
it. There was
when...
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, Roland, you know when those lights went off and the gravity went kind of a little wonky? Well, I tripped. And one of my samples fell, and it was a spore sample, and I just figured it was gonna... I didn't think it was going to go in the vent system. It was supposed to be an inert spore, according to the documentation that I got, that wasn't supposed to be able to actually do anything. I was supposed to be able to activate it with the elements that I had, the cells that I had, but it was supposed to be inert. Actually, both of them are supposed to be inert. So
So the
went in the
spores
vents.
spread into the whole ship that fast? Is that's really fast?
It is.
Well, if you said it was dark in
vents
those
certainly are.
vents,
It stands to reason here, Maya, with your research, that these the fungal colonies that you've encountered, they're not an instantaneous thing. Those colonies have been there for. There's been colonies somewhere for a while now.
Mm-hmm. So no, it is unusual for it to spread that fast, even in these circumstances. But the how or the why isn't very important right now. What's important is that it's happened. Fire does not work on these like we've been asked to do with the chemical fire on the normal vector if we happen to see it. I incinerated the one that we found in Director Simeon's office. It immediately released spores and began growing even more on the ceiling. So that is why I asked you to shut off the vents. I locked the room down. Dr. Mackenzie told me to flood it with light, and I did. And I think popping sounds start going off again. That's what that noise is, I believe.
And Medbay is the exact same.
Medbay
Really?
got hit.
Medbay is a tropical rainforest right now, and I hit it with light before I hit
Shit.
the doctor's office, and
God.
it's pressurized right now. It doesn't seem to react well to light either. My working procedural going forward is that I want to get us all in EVA suits and purge the entire level. Just basically vent the entire atmosphere into space.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to warn everybody though, because we've got lots of civilians, we've got lots of army personnel on here.
Yeah.
If we can get
And
everybody
we don't
outside.
have enough EVA suits, so if we can get clear to the ARC ship and vent this level, it's doable, but like,
Right.
yeah. So I think our first step is to go to the ARC ship. I can do it from there because we're still connected.
Before we do that, there's one thing that I want to do in my lab before we vet everything.
Yeah.
Can I help?
It's
I'm
contained
all
for the
clear.
moment.
Yes, I think
think.
that's a good idea.
All right.
All right, so you all go back to Maya's lab. Maya, what are you wanting to do here?
So we established in the truths that Maya still has some of the spore samples, some of the same samples that she gave to Dr. Mackenzie. And what Maya wants to do, and I think this might be trying to activate my moment because that's active right now, is basically take what she's been working on and basically something science, turn it into a fungal killer.
Okay, go ahead. You can roll 8 dice, and let's see what happens.
That is 2 6s and 1 1.
Okay, so the 1/1 goes away. Mm-hmm. So you are now at 7 dice. I'm rolling to challenge for narrative control. It is your scene. You can finish out the narration here.
Okay. So what I think Maya does is using what she had already been working on, formula number, who knows, something in the thousands, I'm sure. She ends up taking some of the remaining spore samples and mixing it with the formula in a way that's very much... the science on this may not be exact, but what I'm imagining is similar to the way that the actual venom is used to create anti-venom. It's a similar concept here. She's using bits of the actual fungal that has apparently mixed with the vector to create a more effective fungal killer. And while this may not be an immunization to the drone effect like she was trying to do, she does still test a little bit of it on that drone blood that's known to have some of the vector inside it. And since her moment wasn't to create an immunization, it was to synthesize a formula that reacted in a way she wanted to that blood sample. I think it starts to fizzle and I think it just like drains of all its color.
It turns from black to white.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she holds it up and says, okay, Dr. Mackenzie, do you have a pump, something we can use to put this in, make it into a gaseous form that we could use to, if we encounter the fungal vector again, we can use that to spray it and hopefully dissipate it without it spreading more spores?
I should. And
roll 7 dice and let's see if you do.
Yeah, actually, probably a good idea.
Do I get a hope die?
Yes, you do. Now, that hope die scores a success on a 5 or a 6, and you do not lose it on a 1. The only time you can lose your hope die is if you use your brink to re-roll the whole pool, and that hope die comes up a 1 then.
Okay.
So does that hope die apply to everybody?
No, just Maya for now. Yep.
I have 1 6 and I have 1 1.
Okay. So that would knock you down to 6 dice if you let that 1 go away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to justify losing something on just the 1. You get nickel and dime to death here. That's what happens with, yeah. So we're at 6 candles. You had 1 1.
Yep.
That is my scene.
Sorry, we're not at 6. Are we at 6
We're at
candles?
6 dice.
Yep.
6 dice, but not 6 candles.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So, you found something about as close as what Maya's asking. You basically have the equivalent of one of those air pump, like weed killer systems. You know, you put it on a backpack and you have the little pump, little nozzle, that squirts the little stream. That's about the best that you're going to be able to come up with that's going to match kind of Maya's specifications here. But it's going to work, at least for now. I'll say that you definitely are able to create enough of this here to last you a little bit, as long as you're careful with the application.
Okay, so Dr. Mackenzie hands it over to Maya, says, okay, well, this I think is the best that I can do at this point. And after I do that, after Dr. Mackenzie does that, she actually goes back in through their mag crate and goes and finds her 2 last remaining bioluminescence petri dishes that are basically remaining in here because the rest of them are already on the Ark ship. Her her tests and her research, and she actually just sticks them in her pocket. She says, I'm taking these with me. These aren't infected. These are just bacteria and plants. We're going to try and make some light with these. Just want to take these with me just in case we don't get back in here, because these might be the ones. These might be the ones that work. They haven't gotten to that point yet. I don't know.
Now, Roland, while Dr. Mackenzie and Maya were worrying themselves over the spray, you've spent enough time on the station, you know her inside and out, and you feel a weird, very arrhythmic pattern in the deck plates beneath your feet. You can feel thump. It almost feels like a grinding. And after a moment, all three of you notice that the section of the station that you're in has started to slow its rotation.
That's bad. That's very bad.
Do we need to speed up the spacewalk?
We might need to. I might need to take Hayes out there and try to accelerate it. The real question is whether or not this is salvageable at this point. Maybe we should just make for the Ark ship. Like, do we want to just let's just go? We don't need to save this section. We can just leave, right?
Yeah, I'm taking these two. She says about the petri dishes. I'm taking these two with me. I mean, the rest honestly can stay here. Most of the stuff I need is on the other ship. It's such a shame because these seedlings could have helped, but I suppose I can try and do something when we get on there, try and double up production, try and do some splicing and see if we can produce some more plants.
You're the doc. You know your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a choice really. I mean, it's either die or, leave the stuff here.
So, yeah, that's really our option. Either we go through to the ship and make ready to leave on that, or we try to fix it here. I don't really see any reason, right? They're going to be decommissioning this thing shortly anyway.
Yeah, I'm not interested in dying here.
Yeah. I'm also not interested in staying here.
Okay. Hayes, go break down the fabricator. We'll need it on the Ark ship.
He silently salutes you, and he's not drifting back, but he's definitely got a bounce to his step.
I think we've probably got 30 minutes before we start losing gravity. We should get aboard the Ark ship.
Okay, so the three of you are starting to you go out into the corridor. Further on into the depths of the section, you can start to hear what sounds like raised voices coming from the direction of, this would be where the checkpoint was previously. You start to hear raised voices, and then the unmistakable blam of a gunshot. And then silence.
Friends, I think it's time to make our way out of here.
Yeah, they have a checkpoint?
Is that a gun?
Well, one of the army guys that was stopping me from passing the checkpoint, he had a sidearm, so yeah, that sounds like it was a gun.
And you were giving me shit for smoking in a pressurized station? He's firing off a gun?
Was unaware there were people with guns. Okay, all right. I'm going to start walking over towards the checkpoint that I have only just discovered the existence of.
So, Roland heads off down the corridor, and you catch the tail end of the silence as you see the young private kind of standing there, and he still has his hand out, and he's still shakily holding and pointing the gun. And you see this would have been someone who works for Director Simeon in more of an administrative capacity. You can see them laying there on the deck with a couple of people kind of huddled over them, trying to perform CPR, stop the bleeding from the wound. But there's 7 other individuals here at the checkpoint besides the private and the 3 people on the deck right now. But the privates just... I didn't mean to... oh, God.
Stand down and holster your weapon, Private.
Go ahead and roll me dice.
Dice.
Mm-hmm.
6 right now?
Yep.
6,
yep.
Okay. Hey, 2 6s. And no fails.
Oh.
I'll take it.
So he lowers his gun. Okay, yeah. You've got narrative control, by the way, from here.
Okay. Now look, I'm not military, but I know that discharging a firearm on board a spaceship is an incredibly bad idea. Chief Engineer Hoffman, by the way, we're going to be coming through here. I'm assuming that's not going to be a problem, is it?
The shock over the fact that he just shot somebody, this younger, he maybe looks 19, 20. But the shock that he just shot somebody goes away as it's replaced with the sense that his authority is being challenged. Look, Mr. Hoffman, I've been ordered by General Taylor that no one is supposed to leave the civilian section of the station. There's an emergency situation that the military is seeing too, and for everyone's safety, you are all supposed to stay here.
All right, so I'm going to try to keep his attention. I'm going to walk closer, and I'm just kind of looking down at them like pull the wounded person away. I'm going to just kind of hold eyes with the private and be like, look, I just spoke to General Taylor. I'm the one who called the lockdown.
Oh, that was you? Oh, so you know what's going on then. Oh, excellent. All right. Look, and he pulls you off to the side. Look, it's bad. All right. We don't know how the growth got on, but it's everywhere. The guts of the station, we're totally fucked.
Is it on the Ark ship?
I don't know. But look, it's quarantine. I can't let anyone out.
Listen, Private, right now you have 3 people who are looking to get aboard this ship, without whom the ship will not survive more than a few weeks. We have 38 million lines of code that we need to run before we can launch that ship. If we launch without me running that code, you all die. Micrometeorite impacts. As soon as you hit the Oort cloud, you're going to get bombarded with radiation. I have things that I can do in order to make that happen, but I need to be on board, myself and Hayes. And you also have 2 scientists back there in the back, and I'm sure that these guys, hopefully they're dragging them away because I'm buying them time. Hopefully these guys also have important data that they need to bring to the table too. But I do know that without us, you starve, you burn alive, and then you die a slow, painful death out in the void. So.
Valid point. Look, I'll see what I can do. And Maya, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do what I was going to do anymore. Because while Roland was talking, Maya was going to try to like sneak up and take the private's gun, because it didn't seem like he was going to let them on.
I mean, if you want to try it, go ahead. You can roll some dice.
Yeah, I'll try it. She doesn't know the details of their conversation.
Okay.
That's 2 successes and 1-1.
So we're down to 5 dice now?
Yes.
Okay, so you succeed in getting the gun. Now here's the thing. I tied with your 2, meaning I have narrative control. That being said, this is kind of a big deal. You can choose to sacrifice a candle. That'll knock it down to 7 candles. But you can maintain narrative control until this situation is all played out. And then once it's done, we proceed like we had just ended a scene like normal, where we would speak our truths, but it would be as if we were down to 7 candles then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, so you don't have to roll anything off. You have narrative control now. Mm-hmm. So you do succeed in getting the gun, and you do, after sacrificing the candle, now have narrative control. So play it out.
Yeah, so I think while Roland was distracting this private, Maya like circles around because she is afraid they're not going to let her on the Ark. She's afraid that they're not going to let them on at all, and they're going to leave them all behind the station. So she is sneaking around, and she slips the gun out of his holster and then aims it at the private and says, "We're getting on the Ark right now."
And that is where we will end that scene. And now we will speak our truths. Okay, that's one way to do it. Okay, this much is true. The world is dark. Maya, you can go ahead and speak the next truth here.
This is true. This is true. There's only 1 bullet left in the gun.
So we established earlier that the sun was starting to turn red. It is now darkening to purple.
This is true. The pressure in the med bay is reaching critical levels.
This is true. Dr. Mackenzie is starting to question why she was given a non-inert spore sample.
The director has started to sprout a growth in an unseen location.
All right, I've got the last truth for this scene here. Let's see. All of the orbiting sections of the station have ground to a halt. Immediate jerk halt. And to close out the ritual, 1, 2, 3, and we are still
alive.
All right. Next up here. So, Maya, you've pulled the gun on the private. His hand jerks down to his holster, realizes that it's his gun. Whoa, okay. All right. And then that's when the station comes to the jerking halt. And everyone ends up eating the deck. Bumps and bruises. The lights are still on. And you hear some of the scientists, what the hell is going on? What was that? And you hear General Taylor's voice kick in over the intercom. Code black, repeat, code black. Code back, repeat, code black. And then the private... Oh, shit. Oh, no. Neither of you three know what they're talking about, but that was a station-wide page. What's Dr. Mackenzie been doing here during this?
Dr. Mackenzie has been looking around at what's been going on and trying to assess whether or not she can sneak by to that airlock to get onto the ship, and whether or not she can, like, pull everybody else with her before the private notices.
Well, in this case here, it's... I mean, there's really no good place to be sneaky about trying to get past the checkpoint. You do see everyone kind of like get to their feet though, and the private is starting to panic. I mean, if you're wanting to take advantage of the situation, I'm pretty sure you could find a way to do so. If you wanted to go ahead and roll me some dice, and you can figure out how you want to get by him.
6 dice or 7? Sorry.
7.
7.
Yep.
One 1 and 1 6.
Okay, you gonna let that 1-1 go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, it is your scene. You have narrative control still.
All right. So while Maya's, well, everybody's hit the ground, right? Mm-hmm. So Dr. Mackenzie kind of looks around her and notices that she's got Roland to her right and Maya to her left already hit the ground, and she's like, taps them both. Up, up, out, let's go, let's get out of here.
All right, so you make a break for the door, and you're trying to open it, and the manual release for the lock is not disengaging. No matter how much muscle you're putting into it, it is not budging at all.
Roland?
Yeah.
Do you have an override for this?
I'm going to try to punch in my override.
All right.
Wait, first I'm going to check the pressure. Has it disconnected? Because I don't want to open a door to space.
No, it's still structurally intact. You know that in cases like this, if there was something catastrophic, the lockdown was meant to prevent such a thing from killing more people than it needed to.
Right.
So it's as long as you can tell that there's still a hallway at the other end, at the other side of this door. So it can be overridden. You just have to. It's going to require you to make a roll for it, though.
All right. I'll pull out my shipboard multi-tool and get to hacking. Mm-hmm. While I do so, I want to turn around to the private and say, "Hey, you want to get out of here? What's a code black?"
I can't say. General Taylor said I'm not supposed to tell anybody what a code black is.
You're welcome to have this door lock on you and die to the explosive decompression that's about to happen. Easy way or hard way, man?
They're here.
Fuck. All right, I'll roll some dice for that. For that multi-tool. 6 or 7?
6 now.
6 now. Okay. 1 6.
It is my scene.
Yeah, I thought so.
But you still get the door open.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So you've been kind of like talking with the private over your shoulder, turning your attention back to the door. You manage to... doing the override actually isn't that difficult in cases when the structural integrity of the station is still intact. You open the door, and as soon as there's void space there from the door opening, you can see that the gap created from the door immediately fills in with vector and starts to grow and fill in the space. It's almost like it's trying to seal off the entryway.
So wait, coming from the arc ship?
It's coming from inside the structure of the ship, yes. Or not the ship. Like you're like there's still a longer corridor that you have to go down to get to the arc ship. It's just that in order to go any deeper into the station, there's three different like sections of the space station. You're in one end, there's the middle chunk, and then the launch is on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maya's gonna drop the gun and try to spray it.
All right, 5 dice.
Oh no, I rolled a 5 on the hope die, so that's 1 success.
1 success. All right.
And I rolled 1-1.
And
so
1-1.
Another die.
Okay.
And I know that assisting isn't a thing, but I'm
No.
going to pop one of the LED flares from inside my jacket for working in the vents and chuck it while she sprays. Give her a little bit of, narrative assistance.
It is your scene.
Yes.
Okay. How much vector is coming up?
Well, that's up to you.
Okay, sure. I think as the fungal vector is coming up, Maya drops the gun, runs over, pulls out the spray, and starts spraying down the vector. And I don't think she's using enough to get rid of it all, because she would probably have to use all of it. But it does work, and it's able to work enough that it clears a path for them to get through unscathed.
Okay.
There's still vector coming up. They can't completely stop it, but they're able to get through. But it's unlikely they'll be able to come back this way.
Mm-hmm. And so, Dr. Mackenzie, you're the first to spot that Maya has created an opening. You know that you're going to have to leave your crate behind. There's no way you're going to be able to lug it through, even though it's a mag lift. It's too cumbersome to try to get through. This is going to have to be quick.
Yeah, Dr. Mackenzie has assessed the situation, and she's pretty sure that she won't be able to do it. She basically is like, okay, I have what I need. I'm going to go. She taps roll that way. Done. There's a space. Let's go.
Can I do one thing before we take off? Probably while she's spraying.
Yeah.
I want to pick up that fallen gun, eject the round, pocket it, put the mag back in, and throw it at the private, and just say, "Guns in space are stupid. Don't be such a jarhead." and then as I'm walking away, just kind of chuck it over my shoulder. Good luck.
I like that. I won't make you roll for that.
Nice.
Space Force is Air Force, not Marines, you idiot.
Nobody but you can tell.
I had to toss it in there. I'm sorry.
Space Force.
All right, so I'll say that the three of you are able to make it through this. Okay. Now, Maya, you've got a decision to make here. You're the compatriots here who have joined you so far through this excursion they've made it through, but if anyone else is going to join you, you're going to have to keep applying fire.
Ooh. No, Maya's a coward. she's going to keep going.
So,
Oh boy.
so
This is becoming an issue of keeping herself safe.
So Roland and Dr. Mackenzie, you've cleared the hatch, and Maya just turns her back, stops applying the killer, and you immediately hear screaming and yelling of protest, like, "Hey, what about us? Stop! Get back here!"
Should we go back?
No, we don't have enough to keep spraying. If we keep spraying, we're going to use it all up, and we don't know what else we're going to run into.
But they're innocent people.
So are we.
Roland, what's your call on this?
Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna pull some of the filament. I'm gonna basically try to recreate that napalm and ignite it and run. I'm hoping it's more of a hope for the best scenario. I want to give them a chance, but Maya's also right. So some of the filament from it's on Hayes's back. So I want to pull some of that and remake my napalm trick.
All right, go ahead. We're at 4 dice.
4 dice.
4 dice.
That is not very many. Yeah, 1 6, no 1. Okay, this is working.
So you, it's my scene, by the way. Unless you want to sacrifice another candle.
Can I sacrifice my vice?
Okay, I caught you. Let's pause for a sec so Joe can swap her headphones.
Okay.
You're fine. Hello, can you hear me, Joe? Hello, Joe.
This is them, Joe.
It's me, them.
Hello, Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Sorry.
You
appear to be muted, so I don't know if you're trying to speak to us, but I am...
Sorry. There you go.
Okay, cool. Awesome. There we go.
Okay.
Sorry, they were fully charged. They've been lasting for less than 3.5 hours, so they suck.
Yeah, the batteries on those little ones start to go really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I go through like one a year. It's bad. Yeah.
You can't, unfortunately, you can't do anything with your vice, as how you're wanting to, as how you're describing.
Mm.
So if you want narrative control, you got to get rid of a candle.
I think that makes sense. I think our getting to the Ark ship is crucial enough that retaining control of the narrative is important.
Okay. All right. So you go ahead and you grab the filament. You're able to do what you need to do. Go ahead and just narrate what this does.
Okay, so it's similar to what we did in the hallway. It basically is a phosphorus combo with like a PLA plastic, so it kind of contains the flame. And I just want to make a little trail with it, chuck it out there. Like I imagine kind of like a combo resin / like just a pile of goo, and it burns not particularly hot, but it's a very contained burn. And I want to just try to give them as much of a window as I can, but we're not sticking around to see if it works. It's just like best shot in the moment. And then grab Hayes and we duck out towards the airlock door to the main ship.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on then to speaking our truths. This much is true. The world is dark. Now, since Jay, you're the one who decided to sacrifice the candle for the narrative control, you can go ahead and you start off with the second truth here.
This is true even if we do manage to escape on the ARC ship, there is a serious problem with the skyhook.
This is true. There is no power going from the ARC ship back to the station.
This is true. Hayes inhaled a spore.
The med lab doors have blown.
This is true. The soldiers want revenge.
And to close out the ritual, 1, 2, 3, and we are
still alive.
For now. So you hear more yelling and screaming behind you as Roland is doing what he can with what he's got, and it's not much. Anyone who's wanting to follow and make their way to the ARC ship, they're going to end up having to... They're going to earn some third-degree burns if they want to follow. Someone does. It's the soldier. But you hear him as the three of you are proceeding, and it's now that the gravity is stopped, it's more of a float. You are now floating down this corridor, and you hear the soldier yelling after you to stop, but then it's more screaming as the pain from his burns finally sets in, and it's clear that he's not going to be following you. But this next section of the space station is quiet, eerily so. Which, as I've established in other episodes, is not a good thing. But in this case here, it's a relatively clear shot to the ARC ship. This is a central corridor access hatch that runs the whole lateral length of the station. And you're floating down when you hear a voice behind you. Hey, wait for me! And if you turn around, and you see that it's actually Director Hayes. Wait, stop! Stop! What are you doing? Are you going to stop and converse with him, or are you going to proceed?
You said this was the director?
Yeah.
Simeon?
Yeah, Director Simeon. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Yeah,
okay.
Do we see anything growing off of him yet?
No. What are you doing? Stop!
What do you mean stop? We have to get to the ship. Come on.
Move
faster.
We're all contaminated.
We're not all contaminated.
No, look! And he pulls, and he's like floating down the corridor, and he's pulling up the sleeve of his shirt, and you can see there's actually vector starting to sprout from his skin. We're all infected. You have to stop. Nope. It's just fuck.
Maya turns around and starts trying to push herself faster towards the ARC ship.
Roll your dice.
Away from that.
Yeah. Big same.
Yeah, same.
2 successes, 1-1.
My scene. So you turn and you grab you grab one of the handrails and you push yourself off, and it is, I mean, you are quick enough to catch Dr. Simeon's grasp, or to miss Dr. Simeon grabbing for, or Director Simeon grabbing for you. and he ends up kind of tumbling through the 0G space. And he almost seems like he's going to bump into Dr. Mackenzie, who's going to need to roll to get away from him.
All right. Sorry, 6 or 5?
5. Or no. Zoe, you didn't get any ones on your last roll, right?
No,
Right.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. I got 1.
We're at 5 then.
And I have 3 1s, a 5, and a 3 because my rolls tonight are going to be horrible.
Ooh, what do you have face up right now?
I have my virtue right now.
Yeah, I would suggest using that. This would be a good time to do so.
Yeah. Okay, so my virtue is quick-witted, so we'll deal with that in a moment. We'll see what we can do with these guys. Move these dice out. Yeah, that's no better.
Okay,
There's
so
no 1s, but there's also no 6s.
you saved the dice though. And how many successes did you roll on that?
I didn't. As I said, there's no 1s, but there's no 6s.
Oh, you failed. Oh, I thought you rolled a 6.
Very much failed. Yes, no. So I still have to get rid of my virtue, but that wasn't worth it.
Nope. As Dr. Mackenzie wasn't... She zigged when she should have zagged. And where Director Simeon was was trying to grab from Maya, he misses and accidentally slams in 0G into Dr. Mackenzie, and the two of you end up against a wall.
Story time without, I don't want to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
trying to burn my virtue of quick-witted at this point, would it make sense that the moment that Director Simmons runs into Dr. Mackenzie, he would have probably run into her, like, her clothing, right? Not into her. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Mackenzie is going to strip. Take off all her clothes and just zoom.
Okay.
Because that's the quick wit that she needs to get herself not infected.
Okay, that'll...
Will you allow it?
Well,
That's the question.
you can establish... Well, see, we've already failed. You can establish that as a... Well, I'm fine with you not getting infected right now. And if you do want to... If you do want to go ahead and strip down, that's fine. I'm not going to make you burn the truth for that. Okay? So we'll go ahead. We'll give that to you as an action. It just...
Oh, no. I mean, I already burned it by having to roll the dice.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes, I gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is that I already had to burn it because I re-rolled and still failed. So
Okay. That works for me.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, so... this much is true. The world is dark. Dr. Mackenzie, you can go ahead and start it off here with the second truth. We are going to be speaking 5 total.
This much is true. When the director bumped into Dr. Mackenzie, she saw a flash of black with red eyes.
I like that.
This much is true. Using the spray on an infected human will kill them.
The reason why the sections have stopped spinning is because the vector has completely overtaken the superstructure of the station, and the rotational points it's compacted, closed, and shut. So the vector has jammed up the system.
This is true. The sun has ceased to affect the vector in the way that it once did.
And to close things out, 1, 2, 3, and we
And
are
we
still,
alive.
So Dr. Mackenzie's stripped down naked.
Well, underwear and bra or whatever.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Close enough that the EVAs are going to be uncomfortable inside the suit regardless. But you are up to the main transfer section to go to the launch part of the where the arc ship's actually going to be. And you can see where the thing with stations like this is everything is kind of prefabbed and then bolted together. And it's where these seams are at. That's where you start to see little tendrils of the vectors starting to snake their way out through the gaps. The voices down the hall, the screaming, where from the security checkpoint have stopped. Director Simeon's lost his balance and is kind of careening through the corridor here. There isn't any sort of checkpoint here to get to the launch section of the station. The fact remains, though, that if the station has stopped rotating, you're going to have to go through the similar manual override that we did previously. So you're going to have to, if you want to proceed through this way here, you're going to have to roll that off. Roland.
Okay, that makes sense. Is the director still a threat, or is he kind of just floating in the middle of the corridor now?
He's kind of bouncing around. He tries to grab a hold of something to stop, but he ends up whiffing and pong, he bounces off the bulkhead. And right now he's not a threat, but he's definitely, if he gets a grip on something, he could be an issue.
Now, I know Hayes. Is Hayes capable of doing that override, or is this something I should be doing?
Hayes would be more than capable of doing the override if he hadn't started profusely sweating and coughing.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
You okay? I figure, I guess, during the override, if he's sweating and coughing, I was going to go deal with the director, but I guess I'll do the override.
All right, yeah, I'd appreciate that. I'll keep an eye on the director.
Yeah, just push him away if he starts coming towards us.
He actually has he reaches down into his tool belt and he's got a heavy crescent wrench.
Good. Yeah. Okay. All right, override.
All right, go ahead and roll it. We're at 4 dice now? 5? 4? 5? 5. Yes.
I believe. Yeah. 2 and 1.
It's your scene.
Okay. And I guess we lose a die as well.
Yep, so now we're down to 4.
Okay. That is not good. Okay, so the override is successful. It's probably the same strings of code that he did on the last one, so this one probably happens even faster. He's definitely throwing looks at Hayes this whole time because that's concerning. Although coughing is an unusual bit for vector infection, I would assume, right? So this is something different. Not that I have any medical experience. So I get everyone through, and I'm going to stand by in the doorway to get Hayes through. I want to get the nerds through first.
Gotcha. All right, so Maya and Dr. Mackenzie, you do make your way into the hatch, and into the launch section of the station, and we'll get back to you here in a moment. So Roland, you're standing there. You've made sure everyone is clear, and you reach through to try to grab Hayes' hand to get him to come along with you. Nah, I gotta stay behind. The director's right. I've got a problem. And
Are you sure?
And he's got like a green slime that he's coughed up. Yeah. Tell you what. If you want, just take him on ahead. I'll make sure that this asshole doesn't get to you guys, all right?
Okay, and if you can get through them, just disengage the docking clamps from the other side. I can do it from my end, but we'll be way faster getting away from here if you can.
Okay. I got this, all right?
Good luck, man.
Yeah. And he actually turns around and you see him. He's not used to doing stuff in zero gravity like this, but he throws his wrench and it kind of careens through the air, and it does bounce into Simeon, and he does. Well, Hayes of course, equal and opposite reaction. He's actually started like spinning backwards as well. And before you know it, him and Simeon do end up kind of tangling. And you can see that the two of them are actually trying to like scuffle and grapple in 0G. Just get out of here, go!
And I wait just a moment longer than probably would have been smart, and then take a step through the door and close it behind me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do this, so.
All right, so Dr. Mackenzie and Maya, you're now here in the launch section of the station. The Ark ship is, of course, in the bay here. This is a dry dock, so to speak. So this is a 0G construction area, but it is kept under. It is pressurized. There's, there are like blast doors, and you can see that there's kind of a almost a soft launch like mag system here itself that would push the Ark ship out. But this chamber is huge, gigantic. The Ark ship itself is probably about the size of 3 football fields. Okay, I can't emphasize enough the size of this place. But the Ark ship is dark. There's no power coming back from the Ark ship because the Ark ship is dead in the water. You can see that the structural integrity of the ship itself is fine, but all of the mooring clamps and cables and everything else, every hard point connecting the Ark ship to the station's surface has been overgrown, and the ship itself, not a light is blinking. There's not a hum from any kind of auxiliary systems. You are standing before this dead colossus.
This can't be how it ends.
There has to be a way to.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to get into this thing. Like, I mean, I left people in there. Well, a person. I'm sure you have staff in there too, don't you, Maya?
Well, I have people I work with, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's people. People that are in there. It's not like. And Dr. Mackenzie takes out her PDA and just sends a message to her person that's working on the greenhouse saying, "Everything okay in there?
Roll it off.
Did you get everything isolated?
Roll it off."
Right. 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a 6, a 1, a 3, and a 4.
Okay.
So I can either get rid of that 1 or I can burn and try and
Yeah. What do you got on top?
got my moment on top.
What's your moment again?
I will find hope when one of the cells of my bacteria merges with one of the cells of my plants and produces a possible reaction.
Okay, sit on that for now. Okay.
Okay.
So you're gonna lose the die. Okay.
Right.
Yep. So that's down to 4, and
Down to 3, isn't it?
or down
I
to
rolled
down to
four-
3.
Oh,
Yes, down to
right, okay.
3. And I tied for control here. So, unless you want to, you got 5 candles left. You want to burn it for narrative?
I mean, I'm not allowed to consult with my fellow.
You can if you want.
Burn it.
Burn it?
Burn
The
it.
candle? Or burn the candle or burn the moment?
Well,
Oh,
no,
burn the candle.
yeah, you have to, yes,
The candle.
the candle.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. All right, so we are down to 4 dice. Character death is now on the table. Okay? I want to state that now, that now it's 10 candles time. So, go ahead and narrate out the rest of the scene here, Dr. Mackenzie.
So, given that I had success, Dr. Mackenzie sends out a message and repeated back the message. It seems almost robotic, but it's like, yeah, everything's fine, still on track. Let us know when let us know when you're gonna load in. And I wrote right back, now sounds like a plan. And I hear back, meet us at the door.
Okay. That works. Okay. All right, this much is true. The world is dark. Okay, Dr. Mackenzie. You have first truth here. We have 3.
This is true.
Or actually, you got the second truth, technically. But yes, go ahead.
This is true. Dr. Mackenzie is afraid of spacewalks.
Rightfully so.
This is true. The fungal vector is starting to seep into the shuttle hangar.
The last truth of this scene here. The ship is still functional. But Roland is the only one who's going to be able to get this thing to fly. And to close it out, 1, 2, 3, and we are still
alive.
Okay. We're down to 4 dice. Things are going to move very quickly. So, we've established these truths. We've established that the shuttle bay is starting to become overrun with the vector. We've established that the sun is dying. We have established that the vector at the beginning was growing up the superstructure from Earth, and the lack of the atmosphere is what was keeping it from overtaking the station. Life finds a way, however. And one way or the other, this is where we sit. Now, how are we going to go about this? Now, Dr. Mackenzie's contact inside the ship said that they were going to meet them by the door. You do see across the gangplank leading to one of the boarding entrances, the door does slide open, but it is dark inside the ship. There's no power going to the ship or from the ship. How did the door open? Are you going to go investigate, see what your friend is...
Yeah. I'm going to mention blah, blah, blah. I contacted my person, yada, 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 to my two friends here, and going to motion, we should probably make our way over to the door, although it's kind of strange that it's opened up. It seems like the ship doesn't have power.
Which it should.
There might be a manual override for the door on the inside.
Maybe.
I don't remember, but we should hurry over there.
Yeah, let's hurry.
Okay, so we're not getting out of here without power. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell this thing's going to do anything other than float in space. Whatever it needs, I need to see what it is, and the panels over there. Do me a favor, when you get inside the Ark ship, just find senior engineer Mona Ackerman. She's basically my number 2 here on the ship. And just basically let her know what's going on. And then I'm going to do a reroute from the outside. Also that she needs to look into the skyhook protocols, because right now it is not ready to do anything. They need to fix it. If I don't make it back, she's in charge. She'll know what to do with the skyhook.
Can she run and I don't mean to be morbid, but can she run the ship if you don't come back?
She can. She's green, but she knows her shit.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So Dr.
Careful.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say to Maya, so I guess let's go.
Okay. So Maya and Dr. Mackenzie, you make your way across the gangplank over to the entrance of the door of the Ark ship. You do see a figure standing there. They're kind of leaning up against the entrance. And as the two of you draw near, they appear to be normal. Everything seems to be fine. But you get closer, and Dr. Mackenzie, who was the person that you were messaging?
Would have been named Todd.
Okay.
And he basically was doing all the double checks. He's basically like a lab assistant that does all the manual stuff.
He is your Maya, basically. Okay. Understood. So Todd's standing there. Oh, doctor, thank you. Look, there's something weird going on. Like, the ship's dead. I have no idea what's going on in here.
Are any of the generators working? The emergency generators?
No one can get down to engineering inside the ship to check.
What about Mona? I think her name is. She's supposed to be the...
Yeah, Ackerman. Yeah, she went down like last night to go take a look at what was going on, and we haven't heard back from her yet.
Oh, that's not good. Are your comms working?
Messages?
Sorry, yeah. What she said.
She's not responding either.
Okay.
So, look, I heard something about a code black on the intercom. Like,
you heard that. Okay.
Yeah. Look, I've got friends in the military section. They won't tell me what's going on. All I know is that it's bad and that we need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Hey, Maya, I'm going to send a message to Roland, because if Mona's not on that ship, we need Roland. We're going to have to help him before we can help ourselves.
Speaking of Roland, you're at the main power coupling that runs from the station to the ship. There's a reason why that there's no more power going to the ship. It's because the coupling has been completely consumed and overtaken by the vector. Now this is the
Sounds right.
this is the original form. This isn't the new fungal version. This is the OG version that you've got all the safety briefings on. This thing's loves electricity, but you know that the chemical fires are usually the surefire way to go about it.
Okay. So job one here is to reroute power, whatever's remaining from the main ship, give it a jump start so the generators can get going, and then decouple from the ship. So I want to get started by decoupling everything that isn't a power line from the ship. Leave maybe one attached, probably something on a manual detach. I guess since I have control of the scene, I can say that one of them's overrun or something. And okay, cool. Yeah, so one of them can be overrun with that formation and require a manual detach, but like most of the rest of them come clear. I want to leave all the power couplings hooked up and redirect as much power as possible. I have a suspicion that because we were dependent on solar power, that everything has been going to shit because the sun has been dying. So I want to take every bit of juice, put it into routing to the generators and engineering, and hope that Ackerman knows what to do when the handoff happens.
Okay, go ahead and roll it.
Okay, and it's 4 dice?
Yep.
Two sixes, 1-1 on 4 dice.
It's my scene.
Uh,
Well, you're able to go about decoupling everything like how you wanted to. And everything seems to be going just fine. Mackenzie and Maya, you're standing there, you're talking with the individual. You get the text off to Roland, and then the lights of the ship power on for just a brief moment, and then something down in the belly of the ship explodes, sending a little bit of a shudder through the rest of the deck. The line connecting the ship to the station also explodes. The only thing connecting the ship to the station right now is the gangplank that Dr. Mackenzie and Maya are standing on. They have a decision to make. On or off.
Roland, run!
make a run for it.
And Maya's getting on the ship.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Maya, you're on the ship. Mackenzie, are you getting on the ship?
Yeah.
Okay, so the ship is starting to drift. Are you going to try for it?
It's cut free, right?
It's cut free. The bay hasn't been exposed to space yet, but someone's going to need to open up the door and get the ship out.
No. I'm going to stop and try to suit up in EVA. I want to go try to get to the outside of this ship, fix whatever blew up down below.
Okay.
I figure fixing it from the outside is probably the best bet. It might be an engine failure.
Okay, so are we... All right, let's go ahead. I'll give you the EVA. Go ahead and roll it off.
Okay. To get into it before I die of explosive decompression?
Yeah.
1611.
Well, you succeed. Okay, so what is your immediate intention to do here?
I want to go around the back of the ship in EVA while it's drifting and get the engines powered up, even if it kills me.
Okay, so Maya and we can say that Maya and Mackenzie are on the ship. Ship's basically ready to go. And in order to launch, the doors need to be opened, which is why which is why Roland is in the EVA. We can say that the doors have opened. Mackenzie and Maya are on the ship, and we've got Roland outside the ship. He's tethered on. He's trying to fix the ship to get it to go. I like this. Give me a roll.
Crap, what's my pool now?
2.
2.
A 1 and a 6. Yeah. What are the odds?
Mackenzie and Maya, you feel the ship suddenly surge to life and make its way out of the bay. And you hear hustle and bustle of everyone inside trying to get ready. They weren't expecting to leave this quickly. Everyone is kind of getting to their stations. I mean, this ship is huge. There's easily 100,000 people on this ship. It's big. One of mankind's biggest engineering achievements. And it's leaving the station, and everyone is preparing for the Skyhook launch. And Roland, as the ship takes off, you weren't fully prepared for the impulse power. And the ship leaves the station with you not attached. You are free floating in between the station and the ship, with some of your random tools drifting about with you.
Are there, storyteller, any windows to the outside or anything like that where Maya and Dr. Mackenzie would be able to see that this is happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could easily see this from the door that you came in through, the hatch.
If Dr. Mackenzie tethered herself to the ship, would a tether be long enough to reach Roland?
It could be, but the thing is, you are either going to be on the ship when it gets ready to go to the Skyhook, or you're going to be out there trying to fish him up. You can try it. It's going to be high risk.
Well, no risk, no reward, I suppose.
Okay, so you're frantically trying to find an EVA to go back out there with them.
Do I have comms back to the?
Oh yeah, yeah, you do.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you're sitting there, Roland. You're floating.
Yeah.
Dr. Mackenzie's basically just on comms talking to Roland, saying, "I'm gonna tether. I'm gonna get out there. We're gonna get you." What do you mean I'm not?
You're not.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
10 feet in space might as well be 10 million feet. You got a 1 in a million chance of making that, and chances are you're just going to be dangling out here with me, and we'll have a long conversation while we drift back into Earth's orbit. Just, I don't know, name a football team after me or something.
Is there anything that we can do to get you? Like, is there any way that we can get you?
No, not without stopping. Not without stopping. And you can't stop.
Skyhook sequence. Go for launch in 1 minute.
We need to get ready. We can't save him.
This was all I ever wanted to do. I was so pissed off when they stuck me in junior engineer's quarters and didn't give me a bridge position. And you know what's funny is that from now, ever since they commissioned that ship, I got to step on the bridge precisely twice. They didn't even put an engineering station on the damn thing. I wanted nothing more than to be a bridge officer, but not military. So I was never at home on that ship. You guys get the hell out of here.
Well, come on. There's got to be something we can do.
Not really. I've been doing the math. I suspect I'm going to be doing math until I hit Atmo. No, there's nothing you can do. It's okay though, honestly.
Skyhook sequence launch 30 seconds.
We have to go. We have to go now.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Roland.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
no.
Dr. Mackenzie is gonna. I'm gonna keep walking. I'm gonna get settled in, but I'm gonna keep talking to you until I can't anymore. I'm gonna keep talking to you until we're at a comm range. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Did you get a hold of Ackerman? Is that Skyhook gonna work?
Ackerman's somewhere in the bowels of the ship. Nobody knows where she is. Nobody's seen her since yesterday.
You guys need to get an engineer on the Skyhook issue.
Well, if there's no Skyhook, then we don't have to worry about that 30 seconds of Skyhook, do we?
It's there. It's just no telling where it's going to take you.
Skyhook sequence go for launch.
Okay, so I guess Maya and Dr. Mackenzie are getting settled in, waiting for the Skyhook sequence and frantically trying to contact somebody in engineering.
Yeah, while Dr. Mackenzie's talking to Roland, Maya can try to get a hold of anyone.
You know what sucks about being in IT or engineering? You can only be in one place at once.
And it also sucks that you'll never end up seeing the fruits of your labor. Everything always moves along. What I'm working on, somebody will probably figure it out 50 years from now when I'm dead. Yeah.
Well,
we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't have even been able to leave that station if it wasn't for you. You're one of the good ones, man. Like, seriously.
get out of here and fix this problem, you nerd. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
And so the ship starts its impulse trajectory to the Skyhook. Roland, you've got a front row seat. as the ship starts doing some belly spins to get some centrifugal force built up to link up to the skyhook. Inside the ship, Maya, Dr. Mackenzie, you're pressed into your jump seats as the gravity starts to kick in. The ship links onto the skyhook, and everyone in the ship feels it lurch as the ship makes contact. And Roland, you knew about the issue with the skyhook. You were thinking, oh yeah, we've got plenty of time to fix this. We're not going to launch for a while yet. But having not enough forward momentum in space is just as bad as having too much. And the skyhook does launch the ship. And Dr. Mackenzie and Maya, you're pressed into your jump seats. You were all briefed as far as how this was supposed to go, but this is definitely a lot harder than what you were told about. And Roland, you do see as the ship gets flung off into the black reaches towards Mars. You're floating there in space, and you turn and you see the planet underneath you, and you see where there once was brown and green land masses. Everything is gray, black. The oceans are gone. It's dry seabed. There's still remnants of the polar ice caps, but they're green and brinish. But you've got the 3 minutes of oxygen left in your system to kind of take in your surroundings before the air runs out. What's maybe the last word or last thoughts going through your head before you suffocate?
I did what I could. It's up to them to figure out the rest.
And as far as the rest, Maya and Dr. Mackenzie, the individual who you spent the past couple hours trying to get out of this mess, you know that you've left them hundreds of thousands of kilometers behind as the ship sails off into the void. And that is when you realize that all of the people around you have growths on every square inch of exposed skin. They all smile oddly whenever you run into them as you go about your day on the ship, caring for the colonists that you swore to take care of. Off into the black with them. And that is where we will end tonight's game. We did have to cut this a little short just because of time constraints. I will go ahead though and what's maybe what is Dr. Mackenzie's what's does she go about this voluntarily, or does she maybe take care of things?
She looks around her and she still has the petri dishes. And she gets a weird ping from a petri dish, one of them, because she has electronics connected to it that are supposed to detect a certain result. She gets a ping from a petri dish. And she takes it out. And it's glowing. And she turns to Maya and she says, "Let there be light." Tosses it at the closest group of people.
And what's Maya kind of doing here as the ship sails off into the void?
I think sorry, this is really hard.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I feel like with that, Maya still has her solution spray, and I can kind of see a very brief moment in time where they tried to use a combination of the petri dish and what's left of the spray to try to cut down the ones with the growth or try to make a dent in them. And it probably it doesn't really save them in the end, but they don't go down not fighting, at least.
I like that. There's still, even in the end, you have to try. And that's something that I anyone who's coming into 10 Candles for the first time, I always want that to be the takeaway. That you always try, no matter what. So, we'll go ahead. We'll do outros. This is super late for everybody, and I apologize that we were cutting another game short, but this is long. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with Joanna.
Hello, my name is Joanna. I was playing Dr. Brianna McKenzie for you this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. And you will find me on Twitter at Hyrule Gardener. You will also find me on the BBN channel during the Saturday Vampire Takeover as Abigail on Delve into Darkness. You'll find me on the Changeling game as well, and probably some other Patreon content, some random Martlet content, and elsewhere when I can find the time.
And next up is Jay.
Hi guys, I'm Jay. I played our chief engineer Roland today, and yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for having me out. You can find me on Instagram at Sounds of 604, and I'm also in a bespoke horror game that may not be for all tastes called Skin Deep, along with Patrick, which is also a lot of fun. That's on Vancouver by Night's channel as well, where I play Mark the Documentarian.
Finally, Zoe.
Hi, I'm Zoe. You can find me at Twillick43 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias. You can find me here on Martlet Games and Psychopops Incorporated, which should be starting at this point, or we should be into it at this point.
Oh, yeah.
You can also find me over on Carrion Comfort Studios on Displaced and Disorderly, a cyberpunk red story. That's starting October 23rd and going every other Saturday at 8:30 p.m., so we should be well into it at this point, and I'm sure it's going super great and amazing. yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm sorry we had to cut short because of time, but
This OBS says we're at a minute 43 for this chunk. So yeah, it's time for people to go to bed. So it's not just you. Don't worry about it. So finally, I'm Patrick, creative director here at Martlet Games. Would like to say thank you to this wonderful cast. It's always great taking another crew through their first shot through 10 Candles. So keep an eye on the socials for all the stuff that we've got going on. Lots and lots of content. Love you all. Have a good night. Bye-bye.